4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or...
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
The backseat. Check the backseat.
All right, come here.
Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
1620 The Zone.
Here's the 0-1. Swung on, and there's a high fly ball launched to deep right center. Home run, Andres Jimenez. And with one swing, the Guardians have turned this game around. 4-3 Cleveland. Here it comes. A swing and a drive. Deep right field. Away back. Gone. Will Brennan with a multi-homer game. He has 8 on the year, and the Guardians have a 6-3 lead.
Here's the pitch. Slider hit high in the air, deep to left field, and Duhar turns around. That's way out of here. Bobby Witt Jr. gives the Royals the lead right back. It's 3-2 in the top of the 8th inning.
Now the pitch. A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's deep to right field, and that's long gone. Out of here.
We've been able to make changes, and they've been able to adapt and play well. Each series, each game, we're looking for different aspects where we're trying to match lines or add a little more physicality, more speed, or puck play, or we need a penalty killer, whatever the situation is. We've been able to maneuver our lines a little bit, our lineup.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? Cannonball! It is the first day of summer. How we doing, peeps? Good to see you. We're all back together. We're in studio.
Yes.
Air conditioned.
Yeah, it is a cannonball type of day.
Well, it's the first day of summer.
Yeah.
How do you guys celebrate the first day of summer?
bottle of
I
Casamigos.
don't really know.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's a Friday. It's probably more celebrating a Friday than
This
anything.
is a banger of a pool day.
It is.
I am going to be poolside with a cold drink in my hand.
Love it.
Inspiring.
Might not be shirtless. May have a little bit stronger sunscreen than I wore the other day at the CWS. But welcome to summer. Kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's muggy outside.
It's felt like summer for a while though. But yeah,
really?
you got the long day. Well,
Yeah.
other than Wednesday.
I don't know. I
Wednesday.
might be going through some things here because to me it really has not gotten warm yet. Now there ain't a chance I'm turning on my AC, even it's gonna be like 95 today.
Yeah.
My house is actually nice and like cool.
Oh.
I came home the other night, the triple header day, and I walked in and it was it was close to midnight, and I was like, is this going to be one where I'm going to sweat sleeping? Because some people don't like to sweat when they sleep.
Oh no,
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I'm like, let's
a giant
put
wet diaper.
well, let's sleep under that comforter. I was pleasantly surprised. It was cool in my house.
Oh, you live a charmed life, don't you?
But welcome to summer. Hello to you too.
Hello.
It'll be a warm weekend. Great. Love it.
Hey, you know what?
Baseball be good.
So I think when you get, I don't know if it's you get older or it's just the College World Series slug. Driving in, I just realized it's been a week that we were together to kick off the College World Series.
Yeah.
The last week, like, in my mind, flew. To some, it was a grind because it's the College World Series. This last week flew by.
That's good. Yeah, I can't. I mean, hell, we had a 2-hour show on Wednesday. So
yeah, I did 3 games. Okay, fair though. Yesterday you were in here and I was sleeping.
I made up for you yesterday.
But doesn't it seem like the College World Series has flown
more than last year, which is weird because
and in even a day where we banged one game. I mean, we had the delay on Saturday. We banged the one game on Tuesday. Had 3 on Wednesday. To me, the College World Series has flown by, and maybe it's because nobody played yesterday, nobody's playing today, and the championship series kicks off tomorrow.
Yeah, you get a nice smooth transition into the championship series with proper rest for not only the players and the coaches, because that's who we think of first and foremost, but for all those involved that cover the series, that are a big part of it.
The fans and their livers.
And the fans. They get ready for a weekend party starting tomorrow night. So yeah, it's with the delays that you talked about. Typically when we've had that, it does feel like, oh my gosh, this thing has been going on for a month. So yeah, I mean, if you put it that way, that this time a week ago, and it doesn't seem like it was that long, that we were all adjourning from here and getting downtown, then yeah, okay, I can roll with you on that one.
All right. Hello, 1620 The Zone peeps. We're all back in studio. It seems like attendance is down, spending is up. Just my outside observation.
Well, the numbers, attendance-wise, would tell you that it's pretty good.
Those are tickets sold.
Yeah.
So they changed. So now they announce the tickets sold, not the actual people that are in the ballpark. So I think bodies in the stadium down, people spending more money up.
Well, especially during the day games. The day games and just seeing what that has looked like has been, which is typical, I guess.
But I think it's been more this year. It's like seemed to be light.
Yeah.
Now the nighttime games always are, scoochy. Do they Jack Payne? Can you get to know your neighbor? Can you scoochy next to him?
Right. The Monday afternoon game. What was that? Virginia and Jesus. See now I am thinking
Notre Dame.
That game was like, whoa. People know there is a game today, right? And then it I don't know if this was how it was in the triple header, but you get to the end of that first session or the first game, and then you start to see some people maybe at least around the stadium a little bit more. There's a little bit more butts in the seats. And I get it because it's a working day. Kind of worked out well that, there's a lot of people that had Juneteenth off and you had 3 games. So there was a lot of opportunities, as we talked about, to go watch. But yeah, the day games, maybe a little bit more sparse than what we typically see.
What's the traffic been at OBV? Because I know people are spending cash. They're spending a lot of money at OBV. How's the traffic?
You've lived there.
It seems about the same as I remember as last year. But I think you brought this up actually before we went on the air last Friday, that you thought there was a lot more around the OBV, and you're right. And
there's a lot of stuff.
And we found out that was actually the case. That there was quite a few more vendors.
Awesome.
They're maximizing the space out there.
You guys are sponsored by Stanley Tucci now.
Yeah, that was great. Tucci we were like, oh, what's a Tucci bat? Oh, there's a Tucci bat, and all of a sudden within 5 minutes they just throw down a shirt for us. We're like, oh. All right.
How has been, you and I will actually be there tomorrow
yes,
before
we will.
the game 1 of the championship series. How has been the How's been the free stuff?
The free stuff has been good. Baseballism is great. Tucci's great. The salsa guy was great.
Shout out Tony.
Salsa guy's always on the radio.
Yeah, Tony Salsa. Yeah,
Tony Salsa had a
Man,
little powder.
That guy humps it, man. Every time I turn on the radio, you guys at the Baseball Village, I hear that guy. So is he gonna stop by tomorrow?
Maybe. He's come by twice already.
Good on him.
There was who was it? A baseball barbecue. Former baseball players that do barbecue equipment, and then they actually have partnered with a guy who makes a sauce. We talked to them, and they're making us a really cool 1620 The Zone barbecue wood plate that kind of looks like a charcuterie board.
Oh, nice.
But this was kind of cool. Unfortunately, it was when we were all wrapping up because we had to close things down at 6 on Tuesday before the weather came in.
Yeah.
Somebody who was listening to us was driving into town from Lincoln, and he got there and he's like, "Hey, I heard you guys talking about some barbecue baseball guy. Where is he?" And I'm like, "Oh, here, I'll show you." And I went over there and his tent was already closed. I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I go, a lot of people are kind of closing up, preparing for some weather coming in. But I said, he'll be back this weekend or he'll be back on Wednesday. So come out there. So people are listening to, and they're taking advantage of it. So the vendors are being heard on our airwaves, and people are interested. And it's a lot of interesting things. We've got a really good, what do you call this? Acai
bowls.
Yes, acai bowls. One of our listeners, his daughter does that as a side business. She brought 3 over. They were fantastic.
It's healthy.
So yeah, it was a good healthy snack, which we don't always get during, which we don't really care if we get.
But you're powered by Zen water. It's very healthy.
We are. No Zen waters, man. Time for a hydration break.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for
I've heard
Zen water?
Something and powered by fentanyl or something like that.
The booth and OBV not getting along during the College World Series.
What?
Yeah. Because there have been requests to bring stuff up, and you guys show up with nothing.
I've got no requests whatsoever.
And then I hear during delays, I hear this bitching and complaining about you guys doing shows. Not particularly you.
Again, not for me.
So come on down this weekend and meet Nick Handley. Sit on his lap and take a picture.
Well, we'll be there tomorrow beginning at 3.
Yep, we're 3, and then Connor and I are Sunday, and it's the early one, obviously. So we're there at 10 o'clock on Sunday.
All right, so looking forward to seeing a lot of you. So we'll be there for the fun and frivolity of the championship series. But yesterday, I guess, was really, really quiet around the stadium. Some people walked around. They were sad because there was no baseball.
Yeah,
and any day that there is no baseball is sad,
around,
and especially in Omaha. And today there will be no baseball, so it'll be sad. But there will be baseball tomorrow at 6:30 between Texas A&M and Tennessee. And the best 2 out of 3, SEC. SEC. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. SEC. What was this? I wrote this little nugget down. I had a lot of nuggets during the week on the broadcast. The SEC in the last 3 College World Series against teams that are not in their own conference are 17-3. Last 3 years. Okay,
Man,
so we have the SEC against the SEC. We get Texas A&M and Tennessee. Is the team that we are rooting for because we like human interest stories, or we like certain people, the same team that we will want to win?
We have a poll, Gary, that we did yesterday that would tell you.
We do have final numbers on
that. Is the case. I mean, if you're a Tony V fan,
how can you not be?
And you like the personalities there too.
This got closer.
You like Christian Moore? Oh, it did.
Yeah, 72% to 28 in favor of Tennessee.
Geez.
Yeah, but it was 97-3.
Yeah, we had. Is it Oma Ags or Oma Vols? And Oma Vols was the overwhelming favorite.
Oma Vols have a billboard on I-80 as you're headed towards downtown.
I bet the Corps got in and started voting. So good morning, Corps. Thanks for listening. All hail Sir Parker.
I think it'll be a great championship series. I'd love for it to go 3 to be playing Monday night. This event, which just continues to grow and grow and grow. And next year, they'll celebrate the 75th year that it's been in Omaha. This was supposed to be the 75th year, but because of the COVID year. So next year, they're going to blow it out. But college baseball is in a great, great spot. And hopefully we get 3 games. And as you mentioned, the early game on Sunday is on ABC. So just like they did with the volleyball championship, they are giving some sports that have been relegated to the ESPN family. They're in the ESPN, ABC, Disney family, and now they get on ABC. The ratings are already really, really good. I can't wait to see what Sunday does.
Unless Stephen A shows up.
Well, cost too much money. It'll be, new people will probably be watching college baseball. So I personally, I am on the Vols.
Yeah. Monday night game. What did we say yesterday? 5-4 Monday. So you get a close game tomorrow.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be like a 3-2 gem tomorrow.
Sunday you get
then
the
it's gonna be
hits
like
and the home runs and the
9-5 on Sunday, and then you get 5-4 Monday.
I don't know the pitching. Texas A&M's pitching is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're headed for a slugfest, even though Tennessee's lineup is pretty stacked. I think this is the two teams that were really, really good all season long that are playing for the national championship. And
Great final.
Should be a lot of fun, and Tennessee can exercise the demons of the number one national seed not winning. They're really good, and Texas A&M hasn't lost in the NCAA tournament.
Yep. Then there's the star power that we saw last year too, and I've having finally a chance to see him play up close and personal. And Christian Moore is just that dude's. He's special.
He's a beast.
He is absolutely special.
Probably after the injury to Braden Montgomery of Texas A&M, he's probably going to be the highest player taken in the MLB draft. Probably, I don't know, 10 to 15, somewhere in that range. Yeah, he's cock diesel, man. He's a powder keg at second base. So I like the College World Series a lot. I wonder, will there be more pro Vols or pro Eggs?
I think it's pro Vols. I really do. And we got into this a little bit yesterday in the morning with the local interest too. And this is, I'm not trying to say that there's a
lot of West Side fans that are going to be in attendance.
Well, there's that part of it as well. There's a lot of things that I think have been kind of endearing about Tennessee when you go back to 2 years ago, where I think there was some universal celebration that they didn't make it out of the Super Regional, because it was a very much in your face team, but they still have a little bit of that, but it's a little more humbled as well. There's substance to it. We talked to Tony V, and the one thing that I love what he said is, if you go play at Tennessee, you're going to be encouraged to be yourself. And that's a big part of the game. But I also think there's a little bit of that
in radio too.
Like the Texas A&M factor of, we don't want anything good to happen to them right now. They took our AD.
I talked to Trev.
I know he was here.
I spent about 15 minutes with him the other day.
Yeah.
I can.
He had pants on.
Huh?
He had pants on, right? No shorts.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, pants.
He was dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
Seemed like people that I talked to, there were more Nebraska people than Texas A&M is sweet.
Yeah.
But Trev and Angie were here.
He's still making friends down there.
Mike Elko was here. Mike Elko's head is, as advertised, huge. Dude, his dome. He's got a monster dome. Super nice guy.
You want to just take a board and be like, hey, can you headbutt this? I just got to see for myself.
That's a Buffalo.
You're a nice guy. I think that's a smart hire at Texas A&M for football. And then he made a really good addition, Christian Ellsworth, who was a quarterback out at Grand Island in high school and was on Matt Rule's staff, got hired at Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is recruiting in Nebraska now because of Christian, who I think has a very bright future in the world of college football. But yeah, Mike Elko's head, man, it is, because I didn't know that was him. So Trev and I were standing talking, and we were talking about where Texas A&M, like Texas A&M athletics and some certain things about what he inherited, and he pointed and he goes, hey, and football is in a good spot. He didn't have to say that's Coach Elko. I saw the back of his head because he was sitting like in the second row of the suite.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's got to be an aider.
He's a solid 8.
When you go to get a fitted cap,
it's like, is that 8's the biggest you have?
Read in some stuff that Trev and I discussed. Interesting note. You guys know he's been living in.
Yes, I heard that not till July.
So they are just getting ready to sell their house. They have not been able to move into their house in College Station. So essentially,
jet setting.
Yeah.
Oh, what a life.
Maybe later in the show. You guys know the relationship I have with Travis. We were friends before he ever became the athletic director for Nebraska, now Texas A&M. It was. He's in a good spot. Nebraska's in a good spot.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it. And I will tell you that if Jeffrey Gold did not sign his contract yesterday, all hell would have been broken loose, because he had not signed it yet. He had not signed it yet. So he signed it yesterday.
Oh,
yeah, that would not have been good.
While you're here,
so everybody, you know what? Everybody's in a good spot.
Yeah.
But for me personally, it was good to see him. And
yeah,
all of his kids are here. He is very low key.
Yeah.
He doesn't go down on the field to celebrate. He just kind of hangs out. There's a lot of people in Omaha that have stopped by to see him, and he is they're having a get together today for all the people that work for him that he didn't get a chance to say goodbye to.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So he's moved on. Nebraska's moved on, but I told him this. I said, Nebraska's in a good spot. You're in a good spot. And he agreed.
Well, that's good. And at the end of the day, that's all we were hoping for, that if Trev was going to go elsewhere, as much as maybe some people didn't or did understand it, you wanted to make sure that Nebraska was going to be able to have someone in place where they can move forward with a lot of things that were, give Trev credit for, that he set up for Nebraska to succeed. So yeah, that's all you can hope for.
After dabbling with the college football playoff committee and running that.
Yeah.
And
did he talk to you about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was the guy.
Right.
And he went through that whole process. And when it didn't come to fruition, he did say that I'm staying at Nebraska. He's not at Texas A&M if there is not a 4-star general as the president.
Makes sense as well.
Wouldn't even have listened to him.
Yeah.
All
Makes
right.
sense.
So good luck to Texas A&M and Tennessee. We'll have more in the College World Series. Yes.
I don't know where you got that accent from, but
Hey,
all right. We welcome it.
I'm here for
But
it.
the College World Series had a good week. Okay. But baseball has had a unfortunate, we lost somebody who will never be able to replace. An athlete that brought people together, that brought a sport together, that did so much that was more than a glove on a hand or a bat in his hand. So last night was the Rick Wood Classic in Birmingham, Alabama. And there are some things that baseball does not do very well, because baseball sometimes doesn't find a creative way to present itself.
Yeah.
And they've gotten stuck in the past of being America's pastime, where you could make a case that they might be the third most popular major sport in the United States. And the game has changed, and viewing has changed, and they've tried to adjust to the times, but there are a lot of times baseball can't get out of its own way when it comes to creativity. And then they do events. And there is one thing that Major League Baseball, because of their past, because it's a sport that lends itself to storytelling, they jump up and they pull off an absolute banger. And I tweeted out last night, sometimes baseball gets it right. Last night was the night, because what they pulled off and what Fox did was one of the best things baseball has done in a long, long time, as unfortunately a tribute to the passing of Willie Mays. But from Fox's pregame to the play-by-play to the fifth inning being in black and white like it was in 1954 to the postgame, everything that Fox did to that broadcast and what baseball did to put it there in a unique setting and honor the past, and in particular honor the Negro League, where you still have players that were in the Negro League that are alive. And then you throw in Bob Kendrick, who is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, who is the president of the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, and let him tell stories. Man, I was so happy for baseball last night.
It was cool. I felt better going to bed last night watching that. I feel like Buck O'Neil was there in spirit, because that was one of my favorite people I ever met, and I could listen to him tell stories, and Bob Kendrick, same deal.
It was a powerful moment, and sometimes television does not do it justice.
Yeah.
Last night,
television
did it justice on how powerful that night was inside of that ballpark. So kudos.
The pregame alone, between the interviews, I thought even the conversation with Reggie Jackson was really interesting.
Reggie had not told those stories before.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that, because it looked like there was genuine, like an awe moment on the set there too when he's telling that. But then the John Batista performance while the players are coming out was so cool. And one of my, and I guess I'm not ashamed to admit this, but the first experience I ever had with the history of Negro League Baseball was through a movie, and that was was in the 90s, The Soul of the Game. And I didn't realize until I watched the broadcast last night that was shot at Rickwood. And so it was cool to see that there was a lot of any type, because I think Cobb was there too, but they mentioned some of the films that were shot there, and the fact that it has its original light structures, even though those weren't working. I mean, everything about it. Oh, and 42.
Yes.
So when you're thinking of some of those great breakthrough moments for race in the game and for the Negro Leagues to have that type of opportunity back then, you're seeing all these different documentaries, and you're seeing the fields. And I mean, you're watching that game last night. It's like you're watching one of those documentaries, or you're watching one of those movies of it too. It was just everything, the setting from it. The game was completely secondary. And they said as much afterwards too. I mean, they said, well, okay, so the Giants almost come back and win the game, and we're all watching like, oh, that'd be cool if the Giants come back and win that, and you do it for Willie Mays. But there was that one moment where it's 6-5, and they're talking about Willie Mays' birthday and how that was one of those moments. There's so much about it you're watching, and it was like a history lesson, a tribute to the past of Negro League baseball, and especially now in a year, not only the week of a devastating loss of Willie Mays, but also where now those records will be recognized as Major League Baseball records too. There was just so much of it that I think came to a head right there with that presentation that I'm so happy Fox did what they did, how they did it, because everything about it, I can't compare it to anything. I'm watching, especially just in the pregame.
It'd be like a movie. If you were doing a movie and that game last night was the movie,
even the dancers have the clothes that they wore back, into the 40s and the 50s. It was unbelievable watching that and then trying to compare it to any other pregame buildup, and you couldn't. At one point, I'm just like, this is its own thing. Never seen anything like it.
It's baseball has so much history and nostalgia, and those of us that have grown up where we've heard stories from our grandpa or our dad or our mom about baseball and Willie Mays or whoever might be, and they pass on the love of baseball to us, and that's baseball history, nostalgia. We lean into that. Baseball would try and lean into that, and they sometimes struggle. But that event last night and some similar ones when it comes to honoring and telling the story of the past, they do really, really well. And I thought that was one of the best moments that baseball has had in a long time. And I immediately thought, it got such a response that could you do more of those events where you reach back into the history of the game? I don't believe that a major league game is ever coming back here to Omaha. There were just some logistic challenges, and Major League Baseball did not get great feedback from the Tigers and the Royals. Even though there were 25,000 people there, and then the College World Series schedule changed. But I don't think, and it's been 5 years since the Royals and the Tigers were here, that's coming back. The Little League thing in Williamsport remains. They're working on the Field of Dreams. I don't know if that game will come back, but I hope we can find a way with so much history of the game in this country that we have more of these events. And maybe it is taking it to places, stadiums that are still standing, that have history, that you can't tell the story of baseball without Birmingham, Alabama, and Rickwood Field. And if you're able to do that, because I didn't care about the Cardinals and the Giants.
No, I don't think anybody
did. I cared about an event that made baseball seems cool last night.
I forgot who was playing the Giants, to be honest.
And when it's tough when you got 162 games, things run together.
Right.
But when you can take a moment and step outside of a 162 game schedule and make one game huge and one game just to remind people what the game used to be, that's fantastic. And I loved everything about it last night, except for the Cardinals.
I'm thinking of the players that were involved in it as they had a chance to escort all of the active and living Negro League players out onto the field. And you brought up Omaha. I think that was more of okay, we're told we have to do this. We're here to kick off the College World Series, essentially. But what is the...
No, I don't think that. I don't think they were told they had to be here. Because remember, they tied it into the Major League Baseball draft the following year.
I mean, I guess that's true too. But I don't know if... I guess maybe my comparison would be that there was no real significant impact of any true history of the game.
Well, I think they wanted to tie into the history of the game being college baseball.
College, yeah. And I think what these players yesterday experienced was far greater, because I would look at their faces as they're coming out, and I think they were reacting the same way as we all were watching it on TV, of like, wow, this is... I mean, with the music setting going on as they're introducing each person, then you've got their old baseball card on the graphic right next to them as they come out. Some of them are barely walking. Just, again, you're left speechless. You're in awe of it. And you do. I think you put it best. It's like you're watching a movie. And this is the one thing that in moments like that, because I had a similar probably a similar feeling when it came to just the history of baseball when they did pull off the first Field of Dreams game. You didn't really care. You know, the Yankees and the White Sox were playing and how that game was actually playing out, even though it was, you know, there was a lot of offense and everything. But it was more about seeing the old uniforms and all the tributes to the history of the game itself and to the great players that ever wore those uniforms. And even though baseball and the fans and the audience itself has maybe changed a little bit, and as you've gotten younger, there are different things you have to implement into the game to keep the attention of younger fans. I don't know if anybody tells the history of their sport better when they have those types of opportunities, like last night, like the Field of Dreams, and you still see people romanticize about it, which I think is still one thing that baseball will always have going for them. So to your point of, can you do more of this stuff? I sure hope they can, because I still think we all have those moments. We could, old hats could be upset about some of the, the pitch clock and what is this technology and the ABS system and all these different things. But you have nights like that where you sit back, you're like, yeah, gosh dang, I love this game.
Yeah. It was peaceful. I enjoyed it. I went to bed in a good mood. Well done. It's a good game. Yeah, I didn't even know who won. Didn't matter.
Imagine today in 2024 watching a game in black and white.
People are probably like, what's wrong with my TV?
That's it. We're switching to YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Tired of this. Give me my quad box.
Did you turn it off and turn it back on?
I couldn't watch a black and white movie today.
Somehow
I can't watch a black and white movie. I can't watch subtitles.
Somebody brought up standard def yesterday.
That's what bugged me about Nebraska.
Who watches anything in standard def? What would you do? Could you see in standard def?
Well, there's
ESPN Classic.
I know.
You can always tell places that are cheap because they still have standard def TVs.
Yeah, they have the boob tubes sitting there like, oh, that thing looks like it peaked in 1996.
We have HD at the station, if you're wondering.
You get that first flat screen, like,
we
whoa!
do.
Only the best, Clark.
We got a banger screen. Mm-hmm. All right, let me give you the lineup for today's show on the first day of summer. Hogan Haligso will join us. The Ultimate Jasker. He's coming up at 8. Played 3 years at Creighton.
Get it sponsored.
Now is transferred to Nebraska to play baseball to finish his college baseball career. It's weird because his dad's a diehard Nebraska fan.
Yeah, well, he's an alum, yeah.
Brandon Vogel stops by at 8:30. Mike Schaefer in at 9. This is the final big recruiting weekend for Nebraska football in the month of June. So Schaefer will stop by at 9 and Matt Verzal at 9:20. Just a quick reminder, we're all back down at Omaha Baseball Village tomorrow. Nick and myself will be there from 3 until 6:15. The start times for the championship series are all over the map.
Yeah.
6:30 is tomorrow night for game 1 of Tennessee, Texas A&M. 2 o'clock, or no,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock
yeah, 1
on Sunday, and then back to 6 on Monday if necessary. So plan accordingly.
Yep. Aren't we just assuming that there's always going to be a game 3 until we're proven otherwise?
Hopefully. I'd like to watch more baseball.
I don't know. People were assuming that there would be baseball yesterday.
That's true.
And there was no baseball.
That is true.
As A&M and Tennessee both went 3-0. I was a little bit surprised. I thought we'd have one game yesterday.
I did too. Usually we do. That's the thing. We usually have the one if necessary, and then we typically get a game 3 as well. But I love the fact that there's 2 days off. You give everybody a chance to really reset. And again, not just the players and the coaches, but everybody involved. Reset. Going to have a great product starting back up tomorrow. And looking forward to being back down there. I'm going to be curious to see what the overall buzz is. I still do think this is going to be a Tennessee rooting interest when it comes to the local fan base. But as far as the overall traffic, the activity down there leading up to the game, that will be a big part of tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock.
Well, think about if you're from
Knoxville. Because I wasn't there last year for the championship series.
Think about if you're from Knoxville. It's not a super lengthy drive.
Yep.
I think you could hop in you find out your team's playing. You could realistically do this. That's why I like the Sunday as an afternoon game. So you could drive to Omaha from Knoxville. I mean, I guess you could from College Station. You could drive up here. You get here today. You check into a hotel room because the rates have dropped. Tickets are going to be a little bit easier to come by.
Mm-hmm.
You got a game tomorrow. You stay overnight, 2 nights in a hotel. Then you go to the Sunday game. And if you leave right afterwards, let's say you got to be back at work in Texas or Tennessee on Monday, you can't get out of that either, then it actually works out. So I love that they made this change where there is guaranteed baseball on the weekend because there were a lot of people that would not come the first weekend that were from out of town. They would wait until the second weekend. They get here and they got no baseball. They came here for baseball and they got no baseball. Now we give them baseball. If you come here, you got baseball. Where's my baseball?
That was really good baseball. Doesn't the Sunday afternoon game though, being at 1, especially there's going to be a chance to crown a national champion that day. Doesn't it kind of bring you back to that old Saturday CBS broadcast where you had the noon first pitch? So
Good morning, Warren Morse.
that is kind of cool because that's how I grew up with it. And that Warren Morse moment that was there for that
21-14 game that one year. I remember that.
USC LSU, I believe that was a 21-14 one. Yeah, it's the grill ball days. But yeah, it does. It reminds me of that those noon start times they had on that Saturday, which was awesome.
All right, the lineup is brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. If you'd like to join the conversation, because we will talk some Nebraska football, because the very tan man spoke yesterday, not Keith Man. The hotline, which is powered by 42 Degrees The Source, is always open for you to complain, talk about anything you'd like to talk about, because it is Friday, so anything goes on a free-for-all Friday to kick off summer. If you'd like to talk about your favorite cannonball or your favorite cannonball, if your favorite cannonball scene in a movie, Rodney Dangerfield, Ron Burgundy,
Cannonball Run,
the Triple Lindy.
Yes,
the Triple Lindy was a big deal.
402-951-1620. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox. Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
Or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary. That we have a connection to him in this building. We have an inside source.
Oh, in the building?
In the building.
I knew in the company.
In the building.
Okay.
We have a connection to the newest addition to Nebraska's quarterback room. Yesterday, the NAIA Heisman Trophy winner is coming. And I think y'all need to just slow the roll for just a bit.
Guys, friends with Nick Grimm.
It's 41 past the hour. The whole gang's back together on a Friday ahead of the College World Series championship game tomorrow night to kick off game 1 of the best of 3. The Vols or the Ags? Gig 'em.
Oh, the Vols.
Home, sweet home to me.
That way, you whistling whatever you just did there, it not any justice.
Rocky Top, you'll
that was
always
not
be
Rocky Top.
home, sweet home to me.
That was not Rocky Top. No, you gotta get the dun, 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 dun,
Hey, I hear it.
dun, dun,
I hear it. I see Peyton leading the band.
Will he be back?
Well, they're the Peyton passing
they
academy.
can't. Yeah, that's right.
So he was in town. He played golf.
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, he hit up a local course while he was here because did you guys tell the story?
Was he at the Knolls?
You know why he was here? Not just Tennessee,
it's Omaha.
So his son Marshall.
Yeah, he's playing in that Slum Buster. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So no, he's the Manning Passing Academy's going on. I don't know. He might be back, but I will tell you this. So prepare yourself. You guys want a celebrity that could be here tomorrow?
Yep.
Now there ain't a chance that John Bishop knows who this guy is.
Oh, I thought you were going to say John Bishop.
No. Well, he's a celebrity, yes, but he's already here. We
Philip
already know he's here.
Fulmer?
Nope.
Movie star.
Get ready.
Johnny Majors is dead.
Get ready. Bolt down the chairs.
Johnny Manziel.
Morgan Wallen could possibly be here tomorrow. So he's got back-to-back sold-out shows at U.S. Bank Stadium. He was there last night. He is there tonight. He's got a hole in his schedule. Possibly Morgan Wallen, one of the hottest acts in country music, the bad boy of country music, a Tennessee guy.
No longer has a mullet.
Morgan Wallen says, Eric Church, I'm rolling in because my team's still playing. Possibly. Morgan Wallen could be here tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yeah. Could he get drunk and hit you with something? Find out tomorrow night after you meet Nick Handley at the baseball village.
Johnny Manziel there, but
no, Johnny thinks Morgan is a
Did you ask Trev if Johnny
amateur.
Manziel's going to be hanging around?
I had other pressing questions that I needed to have answered.
That didn't make the list.
So John says 9-3. Do you see it? I say 7-5. Trev was like, yeah. Bishop's optimistic.
All right, sure. Trev's got takes.
Well, yes. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and and 1620thezone.com.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Post Coffee stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Funplex asked an AI assistant where you find ultimate summer fun. And, well...
Funplex, Nebraska's largest water park and rides, now with the brand new spinning, tilting Wipeout. Tasty treats, special events, private cabanas, and more. Probability of unforgettable fun, 100%. Funplex is the best choice for an all-in-one day of summer excitement.
So, see you at Funplex then?
I am a language model.
Yeah, fair enough. Get your human tickets at fun-plex.com. Let's go!
The baseball world comes to Omaha. And 1620 The Zone is running the show. All the excitement of the Men's College World Series. The insight, the fun, and the stories behind the games. Live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. Also brought to you by Union Bank and Trust, Nebraska Drug Enforcement Administration, and Park Omaha. Don't miss a minute of the biggest event in the Big O on your station for the Men's College World Series. 1620 The Zone.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
I'm Omar Reese with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Patriots and running back Ramondre Stevenson are agreeing to a 4-year, $36 million extension with $17 million guaranteed, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. The Patriots betting their leading rusher gets back on track after injuries limited him to 12 games and 857 scrimmage yards in 2023. Meantime, Trevor Lawrence met with the media Thursday after signing his 5-year, $275 million contract extension, making him tied for the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Lawrence saying, quote, "I'm not going to add any pressure to myself just based on getting this contract. It doesn't really change what I expected myself and what the team expects from me." And the NFL has released the 2024 training camp reporting dates and locations for all 32 teams. The Ravens are set to be the first team on the field with their rookies reporting on July 13th. Check out NFL.com for all things training camp. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or...
When it comes to protecting your home, Jay Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let Jay Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, Jay Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Light up the night sky at Werner Park on Monday, July 3rd, and celebrate Independence Day with the Omaha Storm Chasers. Cheer on the Chasers against the Iowa Cubs, and then stick around for a night to remember with the largest fireworks show in the area, presented by FNBO. Celebrate the 4th one day early with your Chasers family. Get your tickets today at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome to summer. Feel Good Friday, a free-for-all Friday, whatever you want to label it. Good pool day. It's going to be warm.
Brandon says Summer Shandy Day. There you go. There's a good way to celebrate summer. Get a good summer beer today.
You know
Summer
what?
Shandy's a good one.
I went I threw a curveball. I once had a summer shandy outside of summer. And you know what?
It's like available
Still
this summer.
delicious. Yeah, once it hit your lips.
I can't do too many of them. But especially on a day like this, golf course, it is usually available.
Smart. Like people are, I mean,
People like it year round.
You're snowed in and you're like, you know what? I want some warmth.
Yeah, I want to taste the summer.
Summer shandy brings me warmth. That's a good beer year round. You know who, and again, we'll be down at Baseball Village tomorrow.
Come drink
Omaha
beer.
Baseball Village. We'll be down there tomorrow. Nick and myself. Josh? We'll all be there doing a show from 3 to 6:15. You know who is living their best life out of this building down at OBV?
Not Nick Grimm.
Our listeners would know her a little bit because she'll periodically jump on the midday show. Alyssa over on Power.
Oh, yeah.
And Sweet 98.
Yeah.
She is living her best life down there. She is everywhere. She's throwing a microphone in front of strangers' faces.
Tiny baby Mike.
She's twerking. I saw her walking around while she was dancing with a bunch of ones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, OBV is on tilt.
Yeah.
I mean, what is going on? Usually you have to go a couple of blocks away for that to happen.
Yeah.
Head closer to the airport. She's having fun. So if you see her out there, because she's wearing her 69 baseball jersey.
It says Biscuit on the back.
Yeah, give her a nice high five.
And she'll give you one back.
She will, and she might give you money.
And then she might put a tiny microphone in your face and ask you a question.
I see her. She's having fun. She came between games the other day. She was out on the field.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to run the bases.
She would have.
That would not be good for the relationship between 1620 and the NCAA.
CWS might have had a problem with that. CWS Inc. might have too as well. But,
all right. So yesterday, Nebraska got the commitment they were anticipating. This was a no-brainer, a done deal. The NAIA Heisman Trophy winner from Northwestern College up there in Orange City, Iowa. A lot of Dutchmen are up in Orange City, Iowa. But that program
Shout out Rick Smits.
That's one of the better, regardless of levels, college football program going right now.
Coach's guy played baseball there too.
I highly recommend if you get a chance to watch Northwestern and Morningside go at each other, because in the NAIA world around here, those two have basically been trading off either championships or trips to go play for the championship. So their quarterback at Northwestern, Jalen Gramstad, just had to clear up some I's and dot the I's, cross the T's, that kind of stuff. He was coming to Nebraska, and he made it official yesterday that Nebraska will have an addition to the quarterback room. Now, we have a connection to this announcement in this building.
Oh, to the announcement?
To the announcement and this quarterback.
Oh.
And this whole thing that happened for Nebraska to add a guy who has been really, really good at Northwestern.
Because I knew Jack Mitchell also went to Northwestern. I heard that one.
We've got even a closer connection.
Laid on me.
So it shows that this young man who was really good at Northwestern, if you saw the response by their football program yesterday.
That was cool, yeah.
It was a super classy response of, thanks for everything you've done for us, and we can't wait to see you ball. I'm paraphrasing, but can't wait to see you ball out of Nebraska.
Play and coach. You talked about coaching.
So you know who their head coach is at Northwestern?
No.
You know who his brother is, right?
Who the coach or who Gramstad's brother is?
So Matt McCarty is the head coach at Northwestern. You know who his brother is? Most people in radio know him as Crash Davis.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. He came in and told us that.
Yeah. So
I totally forgot
Crash,
about
who is
that.
on the morning show over on Keg, that's his brother that's the head coach at Northwestern. So he has been telling me about Jalen for a while. And then when he showed up, he told the backstory of the family's from Iowa, but the kid is a huge Nebraska fan. Now, let's just pause for a moment. I know it's Kool-Aid season, okay? We are frothing at the mouth. There's a lot of people that are giving a lot of love, but I just can we for today, maybe you can do this tomorrow. For today, let's just pump the brakes on QB2 right now. Okay, let's just stop for a moment.
Yeah.
But with it all said and done, there is absolutely no downside to an addition like this. You can't go, oh my God, it's going to ruin. No, just stop. It actually will enhance the quarterback room in terms of a body and knowledge and a culture of where you came from. There's no downside to adding a fourth quarterback and adding somebody who is talented and comes from a winning program. This is something you and I discussed, Nick, a couple of weeks ago when he was here, and now it's official. If you can find a downside of something like this, 951-1620, because I don't think you can. And that's, I'm not saying that's
taking up someone else's opportunity that they could have got in.
I'm not saying that as a negative.
No.
I'm like, if you're going to add a guy late, and especially in a quarterback room where there are egos, but a quarterback room where Glenn Thomas has done a really good job of all of those guys are competitive, but they have become friends and they root for each other. And then all of a sudden you're going to add another guy. You got to vet that person.
Yeah.
And there is no doubt now they have four best friends. There's no downside to this on or off the field.
Well, I think the character part of it is an interesting conversation to have because of what you are trying to establish with what is relatively, other than Heiner Carberg, a pretty young group there, that you do bring in a guy that legitimately just wants to be here, just wants to have a chance to compete with these guys wherever the chips fall. I don't think there's any grand aspirations of, hey, I'm gonna show up in Nebraska, I'm gonna go through that tryout, they're gonna notice me, and I'm gonna be the starter against UTEP, or I'm gonna be Dylan Raiola's backup. I think that the bottom line is this is a guy that, and this is what I thought was interesting about the tweet from Northwestern Football was your playing and coaching career. So I immediately thought of a guy that has obviously their aspirations of doing that in the future and being able to learn even more at this level. And the experience that you bring in, and look, NAIA, and this call was brought up in the afternoon yesterday that I thought, okay, well, sure, you could say that. It said, wouldn't you rather have the best playmaker in the NAIA compared to an unproven high school player, true freshman? I said, well, yes and no, because the skill sets maybe are a little bit different. But look, there's always going to be something to be said about any type of college football experience at any level. Now, when you get into the nuts and bolts of, okay, what if the kid has to play? Well, then there's probably other things going on in the quarterback position that are not good, whether it become injury or what have you. But the bottom line is having a presence like that with experience, a guy who legitimately wants to be here. And I think that I may be reading too much into that tweet about a guy that has aspirations also to coach. It makes me think a little bit of Elliott Brown and how vital he's been within the wide receiving group too. Matt Rule even spoke about him too, of the type of the type of group and those guys stepping forward. The first person he mentions is Elliott Brown. So those guys, whether he's in the mix as maybe QB3 at the best or not, it sounds like like you said, there's no downside, but having that type of just positive presence in the quarterback room for a guy that wants to learn, but also anything that he can bestow upon them, just with little things from competition for these younger players, there's absolutely no downside. But for people who think, hey, okay, so is this the backup? Then it allows Heiner Carberg to do all kinds of crazy things with what he wants.
Stop.
That's where you have to end
June
that conversation.
21st.
Right. That is, and that's where I think a lot of people, I don't say a lot of people, but I think you saw there, you're like, okay, now there's that insurance policy that we were talking about. I don't think you can go that. You can't go to that neighborhood.
Well, can I remind people who quarterback one is? I hope.
Right.
I know history's against me when I make this statement of the Nebraska starting quarterback staying healthy. I mean, for some reason, Tanner Lee stayed healthy.
He did. It has happened.
But I hope not to be talking about the backup quarterback in Nebraska unless it's because he plays a lot, because the starting quarterback doesn't play a lot in the fourth quarter. Okay? I don't want to know about the backup quarterback in Nebraska from here on out. I want to remind people, do you know who the quarterback one is? Okay? And the quarterback one needs to play football games. So people saying, well, it'll be great because he'll get into the first couple of games. The quarterback one needs to play football. He's never played football before. So let me remind people of quarterback one. It's a nice addition to the room. Their room is in a good spot, but and
it's a good story.
Who knows? Yeah, it's a good story, and I hope it's a good story that continues past his eligibility where he's got 1 year and he can also use he's also got a red shirt year there's available. So he could have 2 years of playing eligibility. And hopefully after that, he's a member starts as a GA on Matt Rule's staff.
Right.
It's a good story, but let's just slow down. I know it's June 21st. This is good content to consume. I just want to remind people who quarterback one is. Now, with this, I got all nerdy. You ready for some nerd? You ready for some
Nerdy
sharp
Gary.
nerdism?
Nerdy Gary is great.
Okay, so this got me thinking, because Paul Jacobson, who is Husker Tapes on Twitter, is a great follow, and
I like him.
We've interacted. He threw out the stat of the last left-handed quarterback to throw a touchdown pass, Todd Gragnano. Okay, so that was in 1991.
Well, we're not counting Mike Stunts.
Well, Mike Stunts was a wide receiver. When
I
he
guess
came to Nebraska as a
was,
quarterback, but he was a wide receiver.
That's true. At that time, he was. You're
Now,
right.
the greatest left-handed quarterback in the history of Nebraska football is Dave Humm. So it got me to think, because, there was a time where Nebraska's quarterback room was banger after banger after banger. And Nebraska's quarterback room right now is a little bit light, and especially light on experience, playing Division I college football. But I want to give you something. So I went back and looked, because Todd Gragnano, good quarterback, wrong time to be at Nebraska. The 1991 quarterback room at the University of Nebraska, Mike Grant, who was highly acclaimed coming out of Tampa.
Yep.
He's the answer to the trivia question. Who was the last Nebraska quarterback to start before Tommy Frazier started? And that was Mike Grant. Tom Haas, the pride of Aurora, who, when Mickey Joseph got hurt, Tom Haas had to come in. He unfortunately was the quarterback in one of the most embarrassing moments in Tom Osborne's career in the Citrus Bowl against Georgia Tech, where against a great Georgia Tech team, Nebraska football quit. They absolutely quit in that game. Then, of course, you had, because his eligibility was up, but he was still working with the quarterbacks, Jerry Godowski. Mickey Joseph was in that room. Clester Johnson, who came to Nebraska as a quarterback.
These are some dudes.
Todd Gragnano. Keithan McCann.
Yep.
Brooke Behringer. Tony Veland, who came out of Benson
was
to Nebraska as a quarterback. Then there was a guy who was kind of got a little bit of love, but didn't see the field here. A guy named Matt Jones, and then a guy named John McMillan. That was the 1991 quarterback room.
It's a good year.
And then you look at like during Frazier and Behringer's
How many of those guys would have transferred
really
in this
good
day
room.
and age?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of depth right
so
there.
there was a run through the 90s where Nebraska had like some deep and really good quarterback rooms. Now, more than likely,
you have 4 guys that started.
But you would have probably 4 guys that would play.
Well, yeah.
Because of the blowouts.
But all 4 of those guys started at one point.
No. And then it also showed something that maybe Matt Rule learned. You're always looking for a competitive advantage. Okay, putting guys in the right spot. We can't have Harburg on the sidelines. He's got this great speed and a skill set. We love him. How do we find a way? We can't have Doss playing wide receiver in a deep room where he's not going to be able to crack the top 6. But, man, I love how he flips his hips. Where can we find a competitive advantage to put them on the field? Remember, this was the start of the stretch where the Ed Stewarts were moving positions. Or Clester would be better at wide receiver because he's behind too many guys. Tony Veland, man, he could play both ways at Benson.
Yeah, he was good defensively at Benson too.
He's going to be wasted standing on the sidelines at quarterback. Let's find out. Let's find a place where we can get that guy on the field. And they said, you know what? Defensive back is the place for him to go.
Yep.
And it's kind of, I might be reaching here, taking the 91 quarterback room to something that Rule said yesterday. But there is something, and we'll get into this.
This is why we're glad you're back,
Schaefer,
though.
Is a competitive advantage. Like you're looking, an addition of a NAIA player, you're looking for every competitive advantage. What do you do with your off the field? What do you do with your on the field? Where do we move guys so that they're not standing next to me and you're like, dang, if there weren't so many more experienced guys, Jaden, you'd be on the field playing wide receiver. But I'm sorry, man. Work harder in practice.
Right.
Maybe you know what? Maybe have your parents buy season tickets in 25 because you'll play more.
We like your shuttle, but how's your 40?
Instead of going, man, I like your metrics. I like how let's put you in a position of need and let's see if that's the spot for you. I mean, In a world that the previous staff stays here and Tommy Hill stays here, does Tommy Hill get lost at wide receiver?
Yeah.
Tommy Hill, wide receiver, back to defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Hill has a chance to make some noise this year. And I'll be honest, I had erased the page where I had Tommy Hill notes. I'd be like, nope, that guy not gonna work out.
Yep.
Why is he at Rutgers catching passes for that Friday night game?
Yep.
What is going? Goodbye. I wonder if he'll be able to play at 3 different schools. And
Right.
look, they said competitive advantage. Where do we put we put our best athletes on the field in places we can succeed and give us. So you move a guy like Javen Wright, you move positions.
Mm-hmm.
John Bullock, you move positions. You move a guy like Tommy Hill. I don't know if it'll work out for Jaden Doss, but Rule just doesn't willy-nilly throw out, I think that guy's going to be good.
Yeah.
And that's what he said yesterday.
Yeah. And I know he was talking about something a little bit different when it came to the plan in place, but what you just brought up there also made me think about something that he said about why don't how it goes to handling the red shirt. Like why are we redshirting him right now? Because the guy's going to transfer anyway. He doesn't think about that. So there is still that. It just gives you a sense of how Matt Rule thinks about the individual player, not only for the upcoming season, but especially for those younger players. And whether we're talking about Graham said, who's got 2 years eligibility left, but being able to understand what that can do to each position group, and maybe that will have very little impact on the field in this year, and then maybe the following year it doesn't. But having a positive presence like that, what it could do to the development of a guy like you might need at some point in Danny Kaelin in the near future if something happens to Dylan Raiola. So it's the intentionality. He always talks about the intentionality. That was one of my biggest takeaways when he brought something up, that it is so simple. And there are a lot of coaches, and I'm sure he probably gets that from even some of his own coaches of, do we really want to redshirt this guy because he's probably going to go in the transfer portal? Like, you know what? I'm not looking at that guy that way. I'm not going to think of him as, well, we need to play him now. Otherwise he's going to bolt. He's going to go to the transfer portal. They're sticking to their plan. And in this day and age to do that, if you are going to be a program that can identify talent, can identify the 3, 4, and 5-star guys, but also you pride yourself on developing. If you deviate from that plan, that's where guys get wise to that too. So I love the consistency with that message and sticking to those guns, at least for right now.
It's a good story. It's a good story.
It is.
I hope it has a good ending. I just want to remind people who QB1 is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good reminder.
It's my little TED Talk. I'm back in studio. Jimmy is going to talk to you all in a little bit. He's going to say words. Maybe he'll say something about sports.
Maybe I'll say one of the 7 words you're not supposed to say.
Oh,
now that
probably
would be
not. I'm
something
into
that would
be a
hang
Friday
around
thing.
for.
Yeah,
that's coming up
good
next. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, Hogan Elixo, the Jasker will join us. I'm just kidding, by the way. It's a great addition for Nebraska.
It is.
Brandon Vogel as well. Mike Schaefer, Matt Virzel on the final Friday of the College World Series. Next Friday, there will be no College World Series, and we will be sad. We will stand outside of the Chuck and go,
just look like a lost boy.
Where have you gone? On mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Happy Feel Good Friday. Not a whole lot of activity in the Omaha Metro. Looks like that accident on 132nd and Q is cleared. There's still a disabled vehicle in the right shoulder of westbound I-80 at 84th. And if you're on I-680 in both directions, expect slowdowns on the exit ramp to the westbound Dodge Expressway. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Just be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We're excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best-in-town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
I'm Ryan Osted. Golf is great because it can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to go out and have a competitive 18 holes, you can make it that. If you want to go out and have a scramble and just have the time of your life, if you want to have a charity golf tournament to raise money for some great cause, you can make it that. It is flexible to be whatever you need it to be at that particular moment in your life. And I've needed golf to be different things at different points in my life. And I'm certainly thankful that I was able to learn the game as a kid and continue to play it now as an adult.
Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
You know that dollar bill you've got stuffed in your wallet, purse, or pocket? Give it a little respect, because it could win you millions. Lotto America from the Nebraska Lottery is here, and it only costs $1 to play. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. What's more, you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So unwrinkle that dollar bill in your glove box and play today. Lotto America top prize odds 1 in 26 million.
Hey Omaha families, there is such a thing as a free lunch. The Salvation Army's Kids Cruisin' Kitchen is our mobile summer meals program, where our food trucks roll out to locations around town to offer free lunches to kids up to 18 years of age. Kids Cruisin' Kitchen operates weekdays, with the exception of holidays, throughout the summer. Again, this program serves free meals to kids at various locations around Omaha. Meals must be eaten on site. Find out where you can get free lunches for your kids this summer. Just go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The 2024 Men's College World Series plays here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Presented locally by Woodhouse Ford. Every pitch, every hit, every game. Also brought to you by Midwest Ford Dealers, the Henry Dorley Zoo, and Velocity Clinical Research. Don't miss a minute of Omaha's biggest event, the 2024 Men's College World Series on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to the radio. Which you're listening to. I know every time I think of the Larry Bird commercial, the video for him, you get like a football helmet phone or some crap. They don't sell any of that stuff anymore. Kids really miss out on the Sports Illustrated commercial, which you could see now. They would have a Boston Celtics VHS for Joey and Jacob Bigelow to buy. All right, Tennessee and Texas A&M begin the best of 3 College World Series Championship Series tomorrow night. It'll be fun. Both are seeking their first CWS title, and more importantly, because this is what you come here for, they're also atop the Jello Shot leaderboard. We have not given many updates this year on this. After Wednesday night's update, the Volunteers held the lead with 12,804 shots bought, while the Aggies aren't far behind at 11,762 as they look to channel the dominating Aggies Southwest Conference championship string from about 87 to 93 or 4. So.
This has got to be the first year, guys, that we've had the championship series where the 2 teams involved are also the top 2 teams on the shot charts.
So shout out Kevin.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Florida was nowhere to be found last year.
And they're nowhere to be found now.
Mississippi State, obviously, they dominated. But, I don't think we've ever had both teams that are within maybe 1,000 of each other.
So that's any indication, this
it's
could
gonna
go
be a banger.
7 games. Numbers haven't been updated yet, but we'll keep you informed because we are live, local, and investigating. Louisville beats the Storm Chasers 4-1 last night at Werner Park. Everyone was sad. They'll try to be happy tonight at 7:05. Should be a nice night. I say that every night, though. Some nights I'm probably lying. Most days I am. Stanley Cup Game 6 tonight in Edmonton. Go Oilers. Give us a Game 7. In basketball, the awful ESPN TV booth just got a little bit better yesterday. Congratulations to J.J. Redick, who is officially on the clock to be soon fired by LeBron James and Los Angeles Lakers as the three sides agree to a 4-year contract. Redick, a terrible ESPN NBA analyst who played 15 years in the league, met with the Lakers vice president and general manager Rob Pelinka of Fab 5 fame and owner Jeannie Buss of Phil Jackson fame over the weekend. And conversations on the vacancy continued throughout the week before Pelinka said, look, no one's going to take the job. Seriously, just take it. Please take it. Please, before we get one of LeBron's friends. He goes, what am I? Pelinka became sold on Redick's ability to connect with players and his basketball IQ after Dan Hurley said, staying in stores. Anyway, surrounding Redick with an elite coaching staff will help shorten his learning curve, or at least teach him how to coach. Free agent guard Malik Monk. Keep an eye on the assistants, by the way, because when he gets fired, one of them will be promoted to head coach. That's how it goes. That's how Ty Lue got started, and he's great now. Great deal with the Clippers. Got Jeff Van Gundy as a lead assistant, so if he gets fired, Van Gundy's head coach again. Anyway, free agent guard Malik Monk intends to sign a 4-year, $78 million deal, including a player option to return to Gary's Beam team. If you forgot, that's the Sacramento Kings. Monk, the NBA.
Huge late night news last night.
6th Man of the Year runner-up, career best season, averaging 15 points, 5 assists. He avoids free agency with maximum deal available to stay in Sacramento. Like it. Be good next year. Baseball, Cedric Mullins hit a 2-run homer to spark a 6th-run second inning as Gunnar Henderson reached base 4 times, and the Baltimore Orioles knocked out rookie pitcher Luis Gil early, a 17-5 rout of the Yankees yesterday. On a 90-degree day, most places, that's pretty nice, but over there, I guess they were panicking because it's New York. Oh, my God. God forbid it gets hot in New York. The Orioles improved to 5-2 against the Yankees and have now gone unbeaten in 22 straight series against the American League East opponents, a major league record. The Orioles surpassed the mark set by the Braves from 98 to 2000. Remember, they were good. And the Reds, also good, 75 in 1969 and 70. The 17 runs also marked rare success for the Orioles against the Yankees. It was their 2nd most in a road game against New York and tied for 3rd most overall, stats that mean absolutely nothing because, we'll just see what happens at the end of the season. But Orioles and Yankees, that's going to be something that doesn't go away, and that's something we can all enjoy because we do like a good pennant race.
Yes, we do.
And out of all of us, it's pretty much just Nick this year.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this, guys. This
Happy.
is weird.
That's how you're
This is
supposed to
weird.
feel.
I mean, it's like something going to happen.
I don't know.
Is Tanner Bibby going to go on the IL too?
Something might happen is you might have a guy hit 400.
Is Mike Bibby going to join?
How many at-bats is Quan away from being eligible?
Not many. I'd have to look now. It would.
He's flirting with 400.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. And he was one
Not
of the
flirting with disaster.
One of the many outfiters. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, he can run and he's defensively okay. But when you think of power hitting in the outfield for Cleveland over the last years, that's not been a strength. So,
by the way, Nick, yesterday at home, as I went down the rabbit hole of the MLB channel on the Pluto, I was watching Game 3 of the ALDS in 1996. Or no, Game 4. Baltimore rallies to beat Cleveland. But there were some dudes on both teams.
Wait, which year?
96.
Okay.
Robbie Alomar had an extra inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun series.
Yeah. It's a fun time.
Yes, it was.
John Miller was doing the game. He's fun to listen to.
Even better. Yeah, now you're taking me to a really happy place.
Did you guys know that Tennessee's football stadium, Neyland Stadium, there on the river, is named after a Texas A&M baseball player?
Neyland Stadium
General
is
Neyland?
named after
General
Texas A&M?
Neyland, who most famous on the Tennessee lore for coaching the football program, was at Texas A&M for a bit. He's for one year, and he played baseball. So the football stadium in Tennessee is named after a Texas A&M baseball player. I wonder how that sits.
Yeah, it can't be good.
Good thing they didn't name it after Corey Pullick, Brandon Cadell, Mark Ferris.
Okay.
Actually, they were pretty decent dudes.
Okay.
Bethel
Couple of
Johnson.
observations.
I'll talk Aggie football all day.
Other observations, Datwin.
I brought up Sir Parker yesterday.
Kevin Murray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was good. Lance Pavlis.
Ryan Tannehill.
Well,
good at two
not
positions.
An obscure guy right there.
Mike Evans.
Well, yes, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, who attended as many Nebraska men's basketball games as Bill Moose did.
Jamar Toombs, who got Brent Musburger more
Toombs.
excited
Jamar
than
Toombs, yes.
McCarron's girlfriend.
Jamar Toombs, that's a good one.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. When he had that run and ran through all those Oklahoma
Yeah.
dudes,
he ran through Nebraska on one
Do you
too. I
know,
remember.
do you know that Texas A&M? Now they just won a tennis title. Texas A&M in a popular spectator sport has not won a title since '39.
and they'll tell you about that.
And you know what
That's
else?
wild.
You know what else started in 1939? World War II. Do we blame them?
Ooh, so you're saying that if
There's
Texas
a correlation?
You're saying that if
Maybe.
Texas A&M wins the national championship in baseball
Just
here in
saying.
Omaha,
we need to keep an eye on our neighbors.
So 2026, we might be going to war.
Yeah, we might need to just keep an eye on things in the world.
I don't got time for that. Okay.
It is an election year.
I got things to do. Oh, I got a thought on something yesterday about the election that I will pick and choose my spot.
Okay.
So here's how I know that business is up in Omaha Baseball Village. So last year when Rocco's took off with the Jello Shot Challenge and LSU was just over the top, I had somebody at OBV who was a vendor. Like he got in my ear and he was just complaining about, you know what, they're sucking the life out of the College World Series. And, you know, people, that's the only destination they go to. They get off the plane and that's all they talk about is going to Rocco's and people don't come over here. I mean, this guy was, it was one of the shows we did before the championship series because I was just off to the side.
Yeah.
And the guy came up and he was just, man, he was chewing on my ear.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, this isn't what we signed up for, you know, people, we have no foot traffic. And I just listened. I didn't add anything. I just listened to the guy. So
did you say, oh yeah, because we had the owner from Rocco's on. I know all about it.
And he used to coach high school football in the air and you didn't.
Come up with your own idea.
Is that OBV has been busy and people are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you can spread the wealth because I wondered if those two entities get along.
I could see them being
because a
clashing.
place that, you know, us locals, we're not going 24/7, 365.
Right.
Has become the thing to do. You do hear people that get off the plane, and that's like one of the first places they want to
Yeah,
go.
like, let's get a gel shot.
Or when they're two friggin' idiots from Texas A&M, they get kicked out of the stadium. That's the first place they go.
Let's buy them a gel shot.
So I was wondering if, like, do they all get along? But I can tell that
doubt
people in OBV are making cash because I haven't heard people complaining about Rocco's sucking the life out of the college world, sucking the fun. There is, you know what?
They're providing
I'm
the
here
fun.
for fun. There is a lot of fun can be spread around.
Yes.
Yes, it can.
You know where it's not being spread around? La D is kind of light.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, very much
the
is.
Tailgating scene this year is a little light.
Is Kellyanne still on point?
Oh, yeah.
I saw where that one is. I brought this up before we started, and I said that the start on Friday, I noticed this more than anything last year because we used to tailgate on Saturdays when it would start on Saturdays. I noticed the Friday one was light. And it makes sense because, first of all, you're used to the Saturday tradition of doing that.
Here.
But on Friday, it's still technically a work day, and you're still breaking in that new schedule here the last couple of years. Saturday, that's where I thought, okay, it'll pick back up, and it still was not the way I remembered, and I don't know why. I'm really not sure why that is not as active, especially along the sidewalk where you have all of the tailgates set up. And it's wild, and you got – I don't know if this is a product because of LSU not being here, which I don't want to say that they account for all that, but I've noticed the same thing.
They do, you know that.
Sure.
You're right. There's a large amount of – when LSU is here, LSU is a walking party.
But there's been a lot of Omaha tailgates that I remember for a long time. I mean, ever since it's gone down there to North Downtown, that there's been a lot of guys that I've known that are Omaha people that have tailgated, whether LSU is there or not. And I saw one of them this year. I mean, I'm talking about 7 or 8 different tailgates. I only saw one of them that I recognized. So I'm not sure why.
You're going to get like 10 invites in your inbox now from people.
Well, that's cool.
Well,
We'll be down there tomorrow.
There's people tailgating, but it's not the extreme, huge setup, just wild party.
Yes. There was a year, and this would have been, it was when I got back from Columbus. So 2013.
I think you say I got back from the war.
When I got back from the war.
That's going to start
in 1939 because they, 2013, I mean, it was wild. I remember seeing Kenny Bell walking through there and be like, I wanted a picture with Kenny Bell. Like, I mean, it was one
Kenny
of those
Bell
things where
walking party.
He was at that time. He was a walking party, but everybody would be coming through there. You never knew who you're going to see. You would become friends with all these different tailgates. You would be inundated with their games. We made friends with these folks from Iowa. I learned the beauty of Boom Cup. Boom Cup apparently is an Iowa thing. That was a lot of fun.
Boom Cup?
Boom Cup, yeah.
How does Boom Cup work?
Do you remember the game Tippy Cup?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like Tippy Cup, except you don't have the cups upside down, and you have two ping pong balls going from one side of the table to the other, and you're trying to boom, and then you go to the next one, and then if someone catches up to you, you boom them, and then they have to drink the beer in the middle. Or
this is an Iowa thing.
Yeah, this is an Iowa thing. And in this case, it got a little crazy because we said, hey, you know what? We're not going to put beer in the middle anymore. We're going to put Jaeger, because that's how the thing started to progress. So it got a little wild, but this was one of many examples of what was going on in Lot D. And I'm telling you what, I'd be shocked if Boom Cup's being played in Lot D right now.
Is there any good ending that involves Jaeger?
No. Hell no. No. In fact, I suffer the consequence in this particular game of Boom Cup because I got the Jaeger with beer in it.
Former Raiders kicker Jeff Jaeger, yes. Jaeger, no.
I had to step away and walk around for a while. Just say that.
Were you wearing pants?
I was wearing pants.
Okay, then
I needed to find some mulch. I need to find an area of mulch that I might be able to let some of that out. Let's leave that at that.
Yeah. Many dogs do.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know old.
No.
No.
Don't say you know.
You know old tailgating, Nick. Old CWS, Nick. This was old CWS, Nick. Yeah, but yeah. I lost in Boom Cup. I'll never forget it. But Boom Cup's a fun game. One of many examples of Lot D thriving, and I don't see it thriving as much.
All right, so we're on to Memorial Stadium. That's what Andrew would like to talk about. 42 degree The Source hotline.
How's the tailgate seat out there?
Good morning, Andrew.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, Andrew.
Hey, Rocco's has kind of become the new Paulie's. Paulie's, and when I was young, was the place to go, but so I regret.
It is fun in there, I will
So
say.
what is the thing with being able to bury yourself in Memorial Stadium?
Oh yeah,
this was a freaking
Now, what
AstroTurf.
the hell's going on there?
It hasn't passed or anything. It was just a suggestion.
You have to cremate yourself.
Yeah,
so you can be in this event.
A columbarium is what it is.
Preferably you would actually have passed away before you do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Can I ask a question of you? And if it's personal, you tell me this is a no-go. Are you
go for it?
Are you looking at cremation?
Oh yeah, burn me up, put me on 450.
Okay.
It is a good deal.
Do you think that in your wishes you would like to be interned at Memorial Stadium? Would that interest you? Okay. All right.
No.
Like where you know what, Andrew, you know what? When this happens, and I hope you live a long, long life. You're a good guy. You've been very loyal to the show. If one of your family members came to me with your urn of ashes, where would you like to have them spread at?
Well, that's a good question. I guess I've never really thought.
Yeah, it is probably one of those things you don't think about.
and you don't feel like you have to.
But you probably have to think about it before it actually comes to fruition.
Yeah, otherwise people just assume
But
where you want to
do you really care where you're at that point? You're dead.
Well, but there's some special.
Mike Leach said.
Like the family is you maybe let's say, for example, a younger Gary Sharp may have strolled into Memorial Stadium with 4 other guys, and we had ashes from a Husker fan who was something he wanted to do. So where his parents' season tickets were, we spread them in the corner of the end zone. We might have done that.
Or with the pig, the pet pig.
Well, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
All
right. It is probably
it
was something that was brought up by a regent yesterday because Nebraska's a little on the struggle bus in terms of money, trying to make a little extra cash and just stick it to the Husker fan. It would be the epitome of a diehard fan, or it actually would be Memorial Stadium.
It would. You would memorialize it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a question for you. How much would you pay to have your ashes or have your casket do a 360 in Memorial Stadium or whatever they're done?
Well, that's true. It's a good question because you would actually have to purchase the spot in advance before your final day. right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, that bill is
Well,
on your family.
So at Texas A&M, Andrew, when Reveille passes away, they bury them in the end zone so that they can still watch the game.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it probably makes sense if you start to figure out the Texas A&M experience.
The Franchione
But
era was
no,
abusive.
did you think there's chances of this passing?
No.
This was
It was just it was an idea kind of in passing
Yeah,
yesterday.
this was encouraged to, hey, let's think outside the box on how we can tap into new revenue streams. I've got one.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, thanks for the phone call. I've told this story before.
columbarium.
So we had a when I was on Sports Day Mid-America / Sports Nightly, we had a gentleman. His name was Brad from Fremont, Dodge County, Duke. He was a frequent caller to Todd and Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. He had some health issues growing up, but he loved the Huskers, and he would call our show, and it'd be Dodge County Duke, and man, he'd be funny. He would have people rolling. And he passed away. I don't think he made his 40th birthday, but this was 99.
Mm-hmm.
His wish was to have his ashes spread in the end zone at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah,
because his parents had season tickets up in the southwest corner, and he wanted his ashes spread in that corner of the end zone.
Yeah,
and so there were a few of us that got together, and I was invited, and I went. I don't know if this is still the case. What we did was illegal.
Oh, I'm sure.
Now we did not. The gate was partially open.
Yeah, it's not illegal.
So we
That's their
walked
fault.
into the state. Now I could see if we jumped the fence, but the gate was open.
Okay.
It was the gate that goes out to Stadium Drive.
Yeah.
So we just walked right down like we were the Huskers, coming on the field. And we walked out there in the corner of the end zone, and one of his buddies said a nice little thing, and then I wasn't going to touch them, but I was there in support. They spread them in the corner of the end zone.
Didn't blow back at your face when you threw it?
So after it was over, I told the story on the air, and somebody got a hold of me off the air, and they said, what you did is illegal.
Yeah.
You can't do that at Memorial Stadium. Now, I don't know if that's changed. And you know what? Who would know? Like, let's say, for example, you had a friend or a parent, parent pass away, whatever. And one of their wishes was, or their love was, Nebraska football.
Yeah.
And you took their ashes, and let's say the next game you went to where you didn't have that person with you at the game, let's say Nebraska scores, and instead of releasing a balloon, you throw the ashes in the air. Kind of like LeBron.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before LeBron.
Yeah. Here's grandma. Here's grandma on your run zone.
What would stop you from doing that?
Yeah, I would. One would sprinkle onto your Valentino's
But
pizza.
why wouldn't, if Nebraska needs to make money, here's the idea. Why don't you do a circle of life? Okay.
Like Simba?
No, I'm not. No. The Simba camp. No, I don't think they would be up for having like births at Memorial Stadium.
Well, no,
but you could sell.
the complications
Listen
there.
to this. You could sell a package, a Circle of Life package at Memorial Stadium for the diehard fan.
This sounds like a Fort Myers miracle.
No, this is a great idea.
So your kid is born.
Mm-hmm.
Take a picture of him on the field. Okay,
like
put him right in the N before they put a corporate logo there. Put him right in the N.
Placenta
okay,
and Pepsi.
and then a lot of people go and take wedding pictures. At Memorial Stadium,
right? Or with Bo Pelini.
Yes, and then
we tried.
And then you could if you're cremated, you could drop your ashes on the field. You could sell a Circle of Life package.
So the stipulations,
the
stipulation what you're saying is you would have to have the start of your life at Memorial Stadium would be the only way that you could actually it'd be okay to have your burial ashes there.
Once you complete your Huskerdom,
you return.
You've got everything.
Okay.
So your life has revolved around Nebraska football.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you were a baby, a toddler, an infant, you got a picture on the field. When you got married, you stood with your significant other right there on the end. And when you died, they spread it over the HUSKERS in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So there would have
It'd
to
be
be some
great.
type of ceremony performed when you're an infant.
It's a great
when
idea.
you're a baby.
Yeah, there would be like
Someone that would have to validate it and say,
Matt Roll points at them.
obviously you can't go right to the hospital to Memorial Stadium and say, hey.
You would get baptized
still got
by
the umbilical cord.
Herbie Husker.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And you'd be frightened forever.
Or an athletics
What do you want the kid to grow up to be a serial killer? That's one of the first images he sees.
I got to
He's
read
like,
it. I think it's Jake the trucker just unloaded on me about my love of Herbie Husker. I will read the email because he's a good listener. So
good morning, Jake.
But he disagrees with you.
Oh, he more than disagrees with me.
Uh-oh.
But so if you, seriously, if Nebraska scores, like they score against UTEP, and you maybe lost a person that shared your season ticket holder next to you, and they got cremated. What would stop you from when Nebraska scores the first touchdown of the 24 season? You just throw their ashes in the air.
Because
No one
I wouldn't
would
want
know.
ashes to be on someone's food or drink or even their beard.
Is it on
kind of
yours?
weird. It
If
could
it's
come
not
back.
on yours,
Could
it's
come
not your
back to
problem.
you. I mean, depending on what the wind kind of swirls sometimes at Memorial Stadium. You never know what that.
I mean, we're not talking about ashes from like a forest fire.
I know.
Have you seen ashes?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
They you can still see them, and they
every year I get them put on my head. So it's not like that's gonna.
No, it's just.
But I'm
there's
more
something
likely
about
they're going to
that.
blow away.
Well,
And
yeah.
do you really know? I mean, what would we eat? Would we eat 6 pounds of dirt a
Would-
year?
Would you?
Plus, most of the time
That
you'll be
is true.
drunk at the game, so you won't even know.
Are you ever amazed though when you do see? I don't know how many times you guys have seen like actual remains cremated, but I always figured it'd be bigger.
You don't know her because she's from Stanton, but you're eating Grandma Jean.
What's in your coffee? Oh, we forgot.
It was.
Oh man, that was in the filter. Damn it!
I mean, I entertained this idea yesterday, but I was told that was illegal. Like what I did.
Was it just the
Like, you
trespassing
can't-
part, or the disposal of remains?
It wasn't trespassing. The stadium was open.
Yeah, that's their fault.
So
Lock
was
the
it?
stadium.
So is it one?
Yeah, lock the
was
gate.
it some type of disposal of remains based on like because it's turf or something? I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here.
What happens if a player
If it was-
slips?
This is another reason why we need to have grass in stadiums because they wouldn't care if it was grass.
I just should have waited 2 years.
Just sits there on the surface of a turf.
When as you said earlier, when we go to war,
Yep.
that'll get Nebraska a grass field.
No, we can do something about it. Tennessee can win a national championship, and then we don't have to worry about it. This
Like,
is
would
another
they-
reason to root for the Vols.
Like, would it be illegal? Like, let's say, let's do an indoor. Like, let's say this person was a fan of Nebraska basketball or Creighton basketball or Omaha hockey. So indoor venues
on the ice.
Have
Now,
Durango,
that might,
Durango
now, that might
do
show up. It's white. You might see that.
Oh my God, they zamboni grandma.
Yeah, they just cleaned
She
up.
would have been proud.
Oh, they cleaned up.
But what if you went to section 118 of the Chai and just on
the ground,
row 12, seat 6, and that's where Bob sat.
Yeah.
And you sprinkled his ashes on his seat so he could watch Creighton play every game
forever.
Well, and here's
All
the
damn
beauty. Here's the
Jays.
beauty of that, Gary.
This is a great Friday topic.
Don't they normally?
Thank you, Regent Barb, who brought this up
Yeah.
yesterday.
Gives us a lot to chew on. Don't they normally
not ashes.
go by with the blowers, even indoor arenas too, to kind of blow things away? So
Yes.
after the game, it's actually going to be in the air.
I don't know how spiritual you are, but once you're there, you're there.
You're there, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, then it takes you even to another place where you're in that one spot
Valhalla.
there, but then they blow you around the arena with the blower as they're just kind of getting rid of trash. So it's actually kind of a good thing to do that.
The Iron Lung on Twitter says, since dead people have been able to vote for years, will dead fans still count toward the sellout streak?
Well, see, that was a big topic of it yesterday too, when it came to the columbarium. Is all right.
Is that
so
what it's
now,
called? Is that's a fancy word for it?
Yeah, it's basically
Yeah,
it's a
that's too
different. It's slightly different from an what do you call it, mausoleum? Yeah, because it's not actual tombs going in. It's just
Speaking of
it's
Jamar,
it's a place to display urns.
And I hate talking about this because my mom wanted to be cremated.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not in possession of her ashes.
Oh, okay. Well,
the legal system is.
No,
my brother has them.
Oh, okay.
But I thought there was going to be a fight. Like we were leaving the church and it was like, okay, who's going to.
You guys
like
rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
I was like,
here, take these and a casserole.
Who wants it? Well, yeah, I that would be kind
Or
of different. As
lasagna.
you're leaving, you're like, all right, here you go. I don't know how.
Like would I have been driving back to Omaha with the seatbelt?
Yeah.
Mom sitting in the front seat.
Yeah. Have to.
She would love this discussion. So I'm
Okay.
not
Okay.
overstepping here.
I'm just letting you
Yeah.
roll with it. But it was brought up yesterday, though. Yeah, if you really want to keep the sellout streak alive, you do this because you will always have. I mean, those spirits have to count towards presence in Memorial Stadium.
Like Black Sheep, they all voted for the governor.
Yeah. I think this is a great tribute. If you have sprinkled ashes of your buddies or a family member in a sports venue, I'd like to hear about it. Aaron says, I dropped my buddy's ashes in the fountains at Kauffman Stadium.
Nice.
Real? Okay.
Nice.
Now that is cool.
Yeah.
That would be a nice little touch.
Now you realize you could do this anywhere undetected. No
Somewhere
one would
Happer's
ever
got an
really
idea
know because unless you're someone who's always paying attention to people and what they're doing around you, you're usually watching the event. Other than Gary's suggestion of on a touchdown, you just go, woo!
Now that would be
goes up.
that'd be the best thing to do. Like you got a little vial.
Yeah.
And then Nebraska scores and you go, boo! Hey!
Can you feel this?
Uncle Jack, woo! Raise the roof.
What was the guy in Indianapolis that you guys tried to save his life?
Oh yeah, you're talking about it the
Uncle
other day. Uncle something.
Steve, right?
Yeah.
Steve.
Jim said he'd like to shoot my ashes out of the Der Wiener Schlinger.
Oh, there you go.
And that might be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like you can't have fans in the stands because
take out an eye.
Yeah. Okay. We got
Yeah. Good ideas though. I like this.
This is outside the box thinking, and this is how you're going to tap into a new revenue stream that's going to allow you to have $20 million a year to pay.
This is right up there with your game of dead or Canadian.
Yeah.
Gold. Great ideas.
But yeah, I think a lot of us had to look up what a columbarium was yesterday, and now we know.
It was not a crazy idea because there would be people that would pay.
Oh God, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
This
Once,
fan base,
if
great.
if it actually went through and passed, oh yeah,
I would shed a tear if this became something ahead of a Nebraska football museum. I would cry. I literally would cry. I'd be like, what are our priorities here? The living or the dead?
To take care of our old season ticket holders.
All right. We will talk some Nebraska baseball
Fitting.
coming up at 8 College World Series tomorrow night, game 1 of the championship series. University, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. We'll touch a little bit more on that matchup, which is two of the best in college baseball made it to the final. All right. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, where you can make it is a great opportunity. You're looking for, you need a new suit, you need a sport coat. It's summertime. Maybe you need a white-looking suit. You know where you can find it? Lindley Clothing, because right now, not only the place to go anytime, but right now they got a buy one, get one 50% off sale on suits and sports coats. That's right, the BOGO 50% sale. Now, this is how it works. It's pretty simple. You buy one suit or sports coat at regular price, you can get a suit or sport coat of equal or lesser value at 50% off. This sale is going on right now. It ends on July 3rd, so you don't have a lot of time. This is a big celebration, not only summertime kicking off today, but they've expanded. They got the addition of well-suited. So you got to check out both. They've got selections and sizes for everyone. I mean, everyone. Guys, get there and take advantage of the biggest selection of men's casual clothing, casual wear in the state. We aren't kidding. It's even on the sign. Sizes, styles, selection, all of that. And nobody else has right now this great sale going on. Great suits and sports coats. Buy one, get one 50% off. The BOGO sale continues until July 3rd. They are open today, and they are conveniently located in the Linden Market, 132nd and West Dodge.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Grant Bricks' smile.
Yeah, what do you think's going on?
It's very big.
That looks like a guy who's just happy he ate 21 tacos.
He really does look pleased with himself.
The sunglasses, the giant sombrero, the whole thing. That guy walked over there from his house. I'd like to all-you-can-eat tacos, please. And then he just said, keep them coming.
We're back, baby.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Summer heat is back as we close out the week. Friday, expect mostly sunny, hot, humid, and breezy conditions. South wind gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Expect highs around 90 with feels-like temperatures in the mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Want to give you a heads up if you're headed from eastbound Dodge to southbound I-680, there is a disabled vehicle in the exit ramp blocking the center lane and causing slow goings from the Dodge Expressway. If you're on westbound I-80, there's still a disabled vehicle in the right shoulder at 84th. Everything else is smooth sailing in the Omaha Metro with no accidents to report. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Just be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Modern Real Estate.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Host Coffee is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Because you want to hear bacon and eggs on your outdoor griddle, not the scraping of rust. Introducing the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle. Stays ready, not rusty, with a carbon steel cooktop, pre-seasoned and ready to cook on right out of the box. The Weber Slate heats evenly edge to edge up to 500 degrees. All you'll hear is the gasp of amazement from friends and family when you serve the food. Cooking with the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle just sounds delicious and tastes even better.
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Tony tweets at the show, the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Morning, Tony.
Allow people to have their ashes loaded in the fireworks they light off after scoring.
I actually really like that idea. There's a certain elevation that you don't have to worry about if that type of thing freaks you out, that you might actually have anybody showered with remains. It's up in the air. It's way up.
Kind of tiptoed around that one.
Man, if you tuned in just now, you'd be like, what the hell are they talking about?
Jim writes in.
Call them, bury them.
To the Equitable Bank inbox. My family knows of my wishes for some of my ashes to go to the stadium. It used to be illegal to take 12 beers into the stadium, too, but discreet things happen all the time.
Does anyone get dumped in the troughs?
That is a great,
it really is
great
a good
email. Thank you, Jim. I have to read another email here. Mm-hmm. This is from Jake the Trucker.
Okay.
And I appreciate Jake's email.
Morning, Jake.
He said, the Herbie Husker slander has gone on long enough. Nebraska has a majority of German ancestry, hence the blonde hair. This is an egg state, even though you Omaha people don't like that. Hence the overalls. And last but not least, Herbie has 3 national championships. How many does your preferred Herbie Husker have? You want your mascot to put the fear into the hearts of little Iowans everywhere. GBR, Jake the Trucker.
What happens was putting the fear of little Nebraskans everywhere, too.
Who could forget Herbie's run in the 96 Fiesta Bowl?
So to be fair, I do not want the Herbie Husker that won national titles in the 70s. That thing was... The Herbie Husker that won 3 national titles in the 90s, I preferred.
You're Herbie.
It looked more normal.
Yeah.
The current version...
Literally knew it.
I'm not anti-Herbie. The current Herbie is freaky. The eyes are wacko. They need to fix the costume, not get rid of the mascot. fix the costume because the eyes give me nightmares.
Yep.
Like Mike Singletary.
I'm not advocating for like the corncob man to come back or Harry Husker.
Yep.
I like Herbie Husker. You know,
I liked old Herbie too because
people-
old Herbie had a little bit of a tummy as well.
People,
And we all do.
When they went with steroid Herbie, people were a little bit like, "Whoa,
Yeah, yeah, that was Husker Power Herbie.
Yeah, Barry Bonds.
come on, Dylan, just make sure that these conversations are moot." That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
I'm actually really I'm impressed.
This is
with-
what happens when there was no
with
baseball.
the again. If you're at a time right now as whether we're talking about administrators or we're talking about anybody that has any skin in the game when it comes to thinking about how they can raise and tap into more revenue streams when it comes to this day and age of college football, I do applaud said regent for that outside the box thinking because you said it earlier. If this somehow got passed, people would take advantage of it.
Yeah,
You would
they
have
would.
people that would be like, okay, well, if this is going to be a thing, I
Might as
might as well
well.
put grandpa or
Yeah, get the
grandma
money.
or mom or dad, and they went to every game, and now they'll never miss one. So it's outside the box thinking. That's all we can ask.
Like literally, because
I
they're not
mean,
in a coffin.
Not all ideas are a banger.
So here's the deal. You get in trouble in Nebraska. What do? Hey, let's go see if those Nebraska football fans have some cash for us so we can fix our revenue issues.
That's pretty.
Let's lean
I
on
mean, that's
let's
it.
lean
It's
on the
accurate.
loyalty and passion of the Nebraska football fan and see if they'll pay some extra cash. Boom.
Bingo.
Thank you.
Bingo. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, see? You understand.
This is great.
Hey, just do it on your own. I mean, just sneak it in and just get rid of it. However you want to do it. Make sure you video it so you have it on tape.
Always.
Have a little sermon. I think by doing a LeBron for a touchdown is the best way to do it.
I just want to
Flopping and crying to the ref while the other team's 4-on-5.
Until someone taps you on the shoulder like,
You guys
"What was
realize since I hate death, this is like a really uncomfortable
Well, okay.
conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm playing along here. And I'm probably not going to sleep well tonight thinking about this. Oh yeah.
So we got to get your mind back.
It's getting kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Well, between death and then a new Herbie.
Well,
this is not good.
So I had this conversation like 20 years ago. This is what my mom wanted. She's like, don't waste money, and I don't want to be in a cemetery. And I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Or as Andrew said, yeah, just put me in at 450. I don't care. I mean, I guess it's
Just call me Papa Murphy's, and
that's what I thought of too. I'm like, what else?
I also think
12 to 15 minutes.
I also on a side tangent here. I think I got scammed by the place that did it.
Oh,
I didn't know it was that expensive.
Oh yeah, inflation.
I've
Inflation
heard.
sucks.
Well, I've heard that just that whole process.
I mean, it was
regardless.
my mother's wish. I was not going to say no.
Sure, yeah.
But
you have questions. You want to contact the Better Business Bureau.
I had some questions, but at the
So
time,
this is an honest.
my mind was a little bit cloudy.
This is an honest question. Is it done through the funeral home?
Yes.
Okay.
This isn't
But
like
it was
the people
like
peddling meat.
Well, I don't know if they
like it was a
outsourced it.
separate-
If there's there's
No,
there's
no, it's
it's not a contract. or
Traveling
anything.
cremations
Yeah.
now coming.
Yeah, they outsourced it to some contractor or anything like that.
Rolls in this black.
Figured they had that
purse.
type of service.
Oh, I got like a full, I got like a full breakdown of like the cost.
The cost sheet.
Certain, yeah.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Chris says it is in my will to have a pinch of my ashes spread on the field as well.
See?
A pinch of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy.
Modest. Yeah. I could take care of that.
It's super easy.
Here.
This happens a lot more than anyone would ever realize.
Absolutely.
We're just talking about it publicly.
It just goes undetected.
GBR.
Yeah, you don't really care about the rules and regulations that are in place because you do it in a nonchalant way. It's undetected unless you want to really have some type of ceremony. Well, then you got to be obviously a little more creative on how you're going to do that. But as far as just putting them where that wish is for the person who deceased, you could put it anywhere undetected.
I mean, there's probably going to come out here soon. There's another reason why they don't want to tear down the South Stadium.
Because that's going to be the new columbarium.
No, because Devaney's buried under there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There
I
is
mean, just like Jimmy Hoffa
There's one Spirit.
Devaney still resides at Memorial Stadium.
That was Giant Stadium, right? Without Jimmy
Yes.
Hop.
Yeah.
We
Then
did
they'd open
mention
the
this yesterday.
gates
If you really wanted to put like an intimidation factor in Memorial Stadium, you would have this columbarium right outside the visitor locker room.
Just have remains.
Especially if they're uncomfortable with stuff like that. Like, whoa. Like, just know that they're both here in spirit and here physically. You could never get away from Husker fans.
College
right
football's haunted
there.
house.
They're overwhelming you. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It adds to the title of diehard fan.
Why black shirts and the logo mean a little more these days. We'll
Like
tell
they
you.
really
tonight
do
at 10.
die hard because they're right there. That person's 275. There's the urn.
Yeah,
they threw their bones.
I'm okay with this. But
Literally.
I do. You know what? Do it on your own. No, break into the stadium. Break into your favorite arena.
Oh, go ahead and break in.
No.
No, he's saying do it the right way.
No, because
Okay,
it would
yeah.
be it'd be awkward to get arrested with ashes. Because then there would be a lot more questions from the authorities, and then it just
That's
one
a
thing
good
leads
point.
to another.
Yeah, there's some unnecessary investigation that
Coming
you don't
this
need
fall,
to.
1620, the cremation.
So maybe like when you walk into the stadium for the UTEP game, and you've lost a good friend or a family member that they taught you Nebraska football. Just a little out of your pocket there, in your hand as you walk your normal route to your seat.
Yeah.
You're just spreading it as you go.
Just stuff coming out of your hand.
Yeah.
No one will be to the wiser.
It's like
You're
crop
fine.
dusting, but with ashes.
Time for a break on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The 2024 Men's College World Series plays here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Presented locally by Woodhouse Ford. Every pitch, every hit, every game. Also brought to you by Patera Landscaping, Pinnacle Bank, and Cubby's Convenience Stores. Don't miss a minute of Omaha's biggest event, the 2024 Men's College World Series on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here.
And John Schreiner.
When the After Hours Lounge opens from 6 to 8 p.m.,
I drag John into all my conspiracy theories.
And I put up fierce resistance as the voice of reason in the room.
But along the way, we hit all the usual suspects: Huskers, Jays, Bruins.
And nobody goes in-depth on high school sports, bringing you all the best teams from around the Omaha Metro.
So stop by, open up a tab, and join in the crazy.
As the sports schedule allows.
We're brought to you by Bellevue University
on 1620 The Zone.
Hey Omaha families, there is such a thing as a free lunch. The Salvation Army's Kids Cruisin' Kitchen is our mobile summer meals program, where our food trucks roll out to locations around town to offer free lunches to kids up to 18 years of age. Kids Cruisin' Kitchen operates weekdays, with the exception of holidays, throughout the summer. Again, this program serves free meals to kids at various locations around Omaha. Meals must be eaten on site. Find out where you can get free lunches for your kids this summer. Just go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, College World Series kicks back up again tomorrow. We'll be down at Omaha Baseball Village. Nick and myself will be there beginning at 3 for the lead-up to the game that you'll hear right here on 1620 The Zone. I don't want to say that you should forget about Rosenblatt, because Rosenblatt will still have a special place to millions. I'm going to say millions. It does feel like this is like the year that we have finally retired Rosenblatt.
You're right. It hasn't been part of the discussion.
I don't hear many discussion points about Rosenblatt. And the one person I really feel bad for is Greg Pivovar, who runs Stadium View Cards, which is still across the street from where Rosenblatt stood, has not been as busy. And, that used to be a place. And you would think you got some new blood. Florida State's back. North Carolina's back. They'll go there. It'll always hold a special place. And there's some people that's the College World Series is Rosenblatt. Just a general observation. Feels like this is the year that we have retired Rosenblatt.
Yep.
Even on ESPN, I guess they don't talk about Rosenblatt very often.
I haven't heard it as much as the broadcast. Now you'll get, again, some of the camera shots, the B-roll. They did this on Father's Day where they were going to different scenes in Omaha, and they did show some of the visitors around the Rosenblatt area too. But it wasn't like they came back like, oh, remember Rosenblatt? Oh, and then they went into 3 innings of Rosenblatt history. So yeah, I would agree. It's not a big part of the conversation being down in the Omaha Baseball Village and talking to different people that have been following the College World Series. Yeah, I would agree. It just hasn't been brought up.
But
as
if you want a beer and you want to talk sports and you want to see some incredible memorabilia that is for purchase and the old CBS banner, go see Greg. He's over at Stadium View Sports Cards. It's right across the street from the old Rosenblatt. He'd love to see you.
Yep.
But I guess traffic has been down.
And
it's been down for a while now.
Yeah, that's too bad. You would hope still with the visitors to go to the zoo, and even a lot of the tourists that want to see the old site, that they would stop over there too.
A guy that would love to be playing in this town this time next year, Hogan Elixo. Transfer from Creighton to Nebraska. He'll finish his last year at Nebraska. He'll join us coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up if you're headed from eastbound Dodge to southbound I-680. There is a disabled vehicle in the exit ramp blocking the center lane, and it's also causing major traffic backup from 144th. Also, we got a crash reported on 144th and Giles, and if you're on westbound I-80, there is a disabled vehicle in the right shoulder at 84th. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Just be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Time-Saving Traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
You've probably heard about Omaha Transmission saving people money. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
At Host Coffee, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise. A promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun. Ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The baseball world comes to Omaha. And 1620 The Zone is running the show. All the excitement of the Men's College World Series. The insight, the fun, and the stories behind the games. Live from the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank and Children's Nebraska. Also brought to you by Ken and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream, Zen Water, and Nebraska Medicine. Don't miss a minute of the biggest event in the Big O on your station for the Men's College World Series. 1620 The Zone. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, hour number 3 on a Friday. The summer is here. Baseball is here. The College World Series is down to maybe just 3 more games left. There is another season left for our next guest, and we are lucky enough to see him continue his baseball career now in Nebraska. Hogan Elixo joins us here on the 42 Degree Source Hotline. Good morning, Hogan. Thanks for your time. And do I say congratulations on picking Nebraska?
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. I'm excited about my decision, and I'm looking forward to the fall and for sure for next spring.
So walk us through. People have been watching you from high school to your 3 really good years at Creighton, and with the change from Coach Service to the next era, you went into the portal, chose Nebraska. But for those of us that haven't been in the portal, how does this work? Like when you make the decision that you want to look elsewhere, walk us through the process of paperwork to fielding calls to all of that stuff to your final decision to go to Nebraska.
Yeah, so right after the season concluded, I met with Service, and I wanted to let him know that due to the coaching changes, that I would be interested in entering the portal, but depending on who was hired, I would also consider coming back if the fit was right. From then, you have to get in contact with the compliance office and fill out some paperwork that enters you into the portal, and then come June 3rd, your name gets entered onto the website, and then people are free to call you and text you and set up conversations. And so, yeah, I mean, a few of us kind of got ahead of the curve and posted some stuff on Twitter just to get our names out there and show people kind of what we had in mind. And then when June 3rd came, people were free to call us.
How long did it take you, Hogan, to come to the conclusion that Nebraska was the right fit? And I'd have to throw in the familiarity with, guys like Jackson Brockett, Drew Christo, knowing that was also going to be a position of need. What were your options, and what about Nebraska? Where it maybe better yet, how long did it take you to think, hey, you know what, this is going to be the fit?
Yeah, I had talked to Jack well before the portal opened, and he talked about how with Karen's great season that they're probably going to need a catcher, and that he would put in a good word. And so, come Monday, June 3rd, I received a text from Coach Sirianni on Monday night saying that they had interest and they want to get me down on a visit. And I think it was later the next week, I went on a visit to Kansas on Wednesday, Kansas State on Thursday, and then Nebraska on Friday. And I was going to set up a visit with Louisville the following week, but I just felt like the fit of one of those three schools was going to be where I wanted to be, being a little bit closer to home and still in the Midwest. I think that was going to be the best fit for me. So I kind of sat down with my family and talked through those three schools and weighed all the pros and cons. And I think we kind of just felt like Nebraska was the right place to be.
What were you looking to hear? Like, because you're not new to the college game. You got a year of eligibility left. I know that you want to play in the NCAA tournament. You want to go somewhere where you can continue to play. Like, what were the key words that you were looking to hear from these visits?
Yeah, I think the main thing is just resources and what these Power 5 schools have access to. At Nebraska, I mean, you have access to the training table and a player development lab and just so many more things from like a health standpoint and dietary standpoint that, we just didn't have access to at Creighton. And that's no knock to Creighton. I mean, we were still able to compete with the best of them, but I think in order to get to the next level, that for my last year, I think it was the best choice for me to get to a program that has access to all these different resources.
Hogan, you've been part of that series between Nebraska and Creighton, and you actually you did some damage this year too against the team you're now going to be playing for. I was reading Cale Frost when he made his commitment to Nebraska too, coming out of the transfer portal from South Dakota State, and he had mentioned that just the atmosphere at Hawks Field and having that many people there for a midweek game. And I remember being there for the game you guys played out in Lincoln, and what a wild game that was. You guys come from behind and win that one, but also the atmosphere for that. Maybe it's not as unfamiliar to you as it is to people from outside the state, but how much of that, just the overall support you see for this baseball team, the fan base, played into that decision?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at Creighton, I know we play on a great field, but sometimes, it can just feel kind of like a graveyard, or, there's good fans there, but it definitely doesn't fill the seats. So going to a place like Haymarket and seeing them, almost sell out every single game that they play, that's definitely a huge factor. I want to play for a school that feels like it's being supported, and definitely the fans do a great job of showing their support for Nebraska.
Now, are you going to have to tell your dad, because we know your dad, Tommy, that he won't have to stand up behind home plate with his phone and stream games? That they got that taken care of in the Big Ten. Have you cleared that up?
I'm
with
actually
Dad?
bummed by that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll be a little bit more excited to just be able to relax and watch, and let the real broadcasters take care of that.
Hey, one thing is as you picked your new home, and we're in the College World Series, so we've seen Eli get an opportunity the other day to pinch hit and then play in the field for Kentucky. You talked about Jackson and Drew, Elkhorn guys. You're an Elkhorn South guy. There are Elkhorn South, Elkhorn High, and Elkhorn North guys that are littered either on the 3 Division I rosters or elsewhere. Why is baseball so big in Elkhorn and so successful?
I think Omaha in general kind of gets overlooked, and people always are looking in the South and California, Texas, Florida, and I think we kind of just have a different mentality, and we play with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. We're going to grind it out, and we're going to compete as best we can with the best teams in the country, and I think that kind of gets overlooked a little bit, and people aren't really expecting it. And I mean, Nebraska showed it in the Big Ten tournament and the regional that they can hang with any SEC team in the country.
Well, and I know you were prepared very well at Elkhorn South. I know your head coach, Brandon Dahl, extremely well. I had the fortune of coaching him at Millard North, so he's doing a great job with that talent there. The other part about what you guys have seen at the high school level, and to Gary's point, what we continue to see is that constant development with the competition that we see in Lincoln, we see in Grand Island as well. And whether you're playing the spring season or the summer season, even when you got to Creighton, did you feel like you were already maybe one step ahead of the curve as far as what people would most freshmen anyway would experience as a college baseball player?
Yeah, I think so. I think, we're just used to getting stuck inside in the late fall and in the winter, and just being fundamentally sound, being from Omaha. And it's funny, when I was growing up playing for the Omaha Pacesetters, I had a chance to work with Coach Service just in like a team-wide camp, and coaches like Coach Bill Olson. And, so I was very used to how Creighton would run a practice, or just kind of the strategy behind what they teach. So yeah, I think I was one step ahead in that regard, and that, I was just familiar with the program, and being used to getting our practices done inside and just focusing on the small details was definitely an advantage for me.
I got to ask, because I know some players they'll go off and play in the Northwoods League or play summer ball. Others will just work out all summer and continue to stay close to the program that they're going to be representing as early as fall ball session. So what do you have coming up here these the next weeks and months before you get to Lincoln and begin classes?
Yeah, so I am not playing summer ball at the moment. I kind of want to just focus on what school I was going to pick and being able to take visits and whatnot. And then also, just from like an academic and living standpoint, I got to figure out, how to enroll and find a place to live and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm focused on at the moment, as well as working out and doing all those things. But yeah, the main thing for me, I think, is just getting as physical as I can and putting on as much weight as possible and strength, and really building up my game that way.
Now there's nobody that you really chirped at for the last 3 years that's going to be awkward when you go into the clubhouse for the first time as a teammate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a ton of respect for Nebraska. I know Coach Service says we can respect him and not like him, but I've never had any problems with the Nebraska players. I think just with the rivalry itself, it was intense, and both teams wanted to win just as bad as the other one. So I don't think they'll have any problems, but I guess we'll see.
Okay, with that, I mentioned you had some success. You had the home run there at Charles Schwab Field. And I think there was
there's going to be a couple of pitchers that are going to have to okay.
Yeah, they're going to know where not to throw to you and fall. That's for sure. But and I think you even had one that damn near almost you almost went back to back, where you almost had one that went foul. The one thing I've noticed, I mean, your defense has always been solid, but man, your offense and just driving the baseball here as the last couple of years really improved. What do you attribute to that? Is that just kind of coming into your body, continuing just to work on that? What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I think just gaining more experience and getting more comfortable and confident in the box at the Division I level has really helped me. Definitely drone into my body a little bit definitely has helped as well. But I think just, seeing more pitches and getting used to hitting, really, so I think that's the biggest thing, is just you build experience and get more comfortable as the year goes on, and as the career goes on as well.
Hogan, congratulations on your choice. I know they're very excited in Lincoln, and we look forward to seeing you play a lot of baseball in the 2025 season.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Hogan Haligso, who began his career at Creighton, Elkhorn South grad, played there for 3 years, had a nice, productive career. It's a good pickup for Nebraska, especially with their need behind the plate, and he will play his final year at Nebraska after choosing the Huskers out of the portal, but he did have options.
They did.
So he looked
Wolverine.
around. It's one of the rare Creighton to Nebraska to Creighton guys in Olympic sports transfers.
I'm thinking about Matt Warren, who pitched to Creighton, then pitched to Nebraska. That was one of the more recent ones just before COVID. I think there might be another one that I'm missing.
So I didn't know him as a player. I only heard the story. There was a guy, and I think he might have been on, was he on Creighton's College World Series team as maybe a utility guy or a backup? Okay. There was a guy named Tim Seaton who transferred from Creighton to Nebraska. And back then, the Creighton-Nebraska rivalry was off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was hatred.
Yeah.
And there was a fight. There was a fight in a Nebraska-Creighton game, and Tim Seaton was like in the middle of it. This is probably the early 90s. I think I was told the story.
Well,
but it's rare. It's, like we were talking the other day when Hogan made his decision. Like, you don't see it in basketball.
No.
Like Connie Ori, but we don't.
Yeah, we see actual players.
Like Shireman wasn't playing in Lincoln, all of a sudden the next year he's playing in Omaha.
Or vice versa.
Which would just ramp it up.
Yeah, Ryan Kalkbrenner's now going to be a Husker. What?
I mean, periodically in Olympic sports. But yeah, very, very rare. And especially after somebody that's had success against you now shows up in your clubhouse in the fall.
Yeah, he's got 2 bombs in that series. The other thing, I'm glad you asked that question because you remember, and this was always a topic of conversation, not necessarily by us, but we always had to entertain it because we'd be inundated with tweets and messages about this, is that, man, it just seems like it matters more to Creighton when they play Nebraska than how Nebraska reacts. They seem to kind of be ho-hum about it. And you remember, I mean, every big moment in those games, the Creighton players, they're beating on the dugout. They're letting you know their presence. And when they would win, I mean, they'd be loud about it too. It was a fair question because think about it. You're the catcher. So you're in the prime spot to be talking a little trash if that's who you are. And everything I know of Hogan Heligzo, that's not necessarily who he is. But it's a fair question because those things, I think, even brought out the emotion and maybe even some of the players that are usually a little bit more even keel. You get into some of those games like that, it brings more out of you.
So it kind of, like you can be a rival and get at each other. And then once that person is on your team. So Christian Moore, the second baseman for Tennessee, told me a story the other day. Dalton Bargo, who is from West Side, playing for Missouri last year.
Yeah.
Missouri and Tennessee are playing in Columbia. And there's a situation where Tennessee thinks that Missouri is stealing the signs. Like it. And
you know how they handle those things.
So the Tennessee dugout was chirping.
Yep.
Bargo gets on second base, and remember, he's playing for Missouri, and
he's tipping off.
Christian Moore went after him, like was like dog cussing him and was ready to throw down.
Yep, that's old school right there.
And then the next year, Bargo transfers to Tennessee and is a key part of the Tennessee lineup along with Christian Moore.
Yep, and then it's just amazing when a guy gets into a new uniform, how you can really change your opinion about him. Yeah. But I love hearing that story because that's how you handled sign stealing. Someone gets on second, you see him communicating back with a hitter, and you start letting him know, like, look, man, look, MFer, you do that again. Yeah, you know where that next pitch is going.
Christian said he was going to fight him. Yeah. They're playing a Sunday game in Columbia. He says like 38 degrees.
Yeah.
And they're stealing our signs.
And you know it. It's one thing if we talk about this all the time. People do it, but when you make it either obvious or they're onto you, and you start bringing it up to them, and that's exactly what you do. Yeah. You approach it that way by letting them know, and you start getting a little aggressive.
One final thing on the transfer from rivals. So there was a coach last year that said they got two pitchers from a rival school, like they had knocked down, drag out 3-game series. The head coach did ask some of their veterans, hey, we have an opportunity to help our ball club. We're going to pick up. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Because there was a pitcher that had drilled one of their guys last year. And these guys said, well, he can throw, he can help us.
Yeah, right.
But we'll take care of it internally.
Oh,
just a reminder, you're at a different place now. All right.
We'll correct them.
23 past the hour. Brandon Vogel from counterread.com going to join us here in a little bit. Last hour, Mike Schaefer and Matt Verzal on a Friday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. You get a lot of junk in your inbox. This one, not junk at all. 1620 the email. Exclusive content, contests, other stuff probably. Subscribe today at 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Summer heat is back as we close out the week. Friday, expect mostly sunny, hot, humid, and breezy conditions. South wind gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Expect highs around 90 with feels-like temperatures in the mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. I'm going to give you an update on eastbound Dodge. That disabled vehicle on the exit ramp to southbound I-680 is cleared. Traffic flow is back to normal in that area. However, we still have that disabled vehicle on the right shoulder of westbound I-80 at 84th. And if you're over on 144th and Giles, be on the lookout for a crash in that area. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Just be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Pyramid Roofing. If you've seen the white trucks with Rufus the Spotted Dog, then you know about Pyramid Roofing. Replace your siding, windows, roof, or gutters. Call Pyramid Roofing at 402-502-9300 or visit
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
It's golf season, and that means it's time to start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa. It's sports betting the way it should be. The odds makers with the lowest holds and the best odds for every tournament. Plus, high betting limits, exceptional customer service, and more. Fund and bet like a pro anywhere, anytime. It's never been easier. Get ready for all the biggest golf tournaments with Circa Sports Iowa. Visit circasports.com today. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Because you want to hear bacon and eggs on your outdoor griddle, not the scraping of rust. Introducing the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle. Stays ready, not rusty, with a carbon steel cooktop, pre-seasoned and ready to cook on right out of the box. The Weber Slate heats evenly edge to edge up to 500 degrees. All you'll hear is the gasp of amazement from friends and family when you serve the food. Cooking with the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle just sounds delicious and tastes even better.
The Nebraska Lottery presents 5 reasons the dollar bill is so great. First, it's always there when you need it. You can always find one folded up in your pocket just waiting to get you out of a jam. Second, it's humble. It doesn't strut around like a 50 or 100 waiting for people to compliment it. Third, it works hard. Whether you need more money for a tip or extra detergent at the laundromat, a dollar bill sure comes in handy. Fourth, it beats lugging around 100 pennies. And fifth, you can use it to buy a Lotto America ticket from the Nebraska Lottery. Lotto America only costs $1. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So visit a Nebraska Lottery retailer today and buy a Lotto America ticket. Ooh, sounds like someone tried to pay with 100 pennies. So sad.
Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. Get 6 times longer lasting freshness plus odor protection with Downy Unstoppables in wash scent beads.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Andrew tweets in, not the previous Andrew about ashes at Memorial Stadium. This is a different Andrew.
We moved on from that?
He said one of the more famous Nebraska to Creighton transfers, Colin Shockey.
Yep, from Ralston.
So 0405.
Yep.
I mean, that family is one of the first families of baseball.
Yeah.
With Dad Kurt and his
Kurt,
great success.
Jason and Colin. Yep.
And Jason is a head baseball coach at Bellevue West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was in the transition when I was moving away from Nebraska. Because he played a lot in that 04 Nebraska team. Now he also played a lot at Creighton the following year.
Yep.
Was there any bad blood?
Not that much, no. Nothing that I recall that was Now, you could talk to people on those teams and they might tell you a different story, but anything that showed up in the actual games that were played, no, there wasn't anything that jumped off the page there. But that's the thing and you mentioned the Shockey baseball name too. A lot of people know them. A lot of people know the old Ralston Post 373 Legion team that was ran by Kurt Shockey, and they were really, really good, but aggressive style of baseball. We'll just say that. So sometimes the Shockey name would get people riled up a little bit because you wanted to beat them so bad. They were good, and they would do some things that maybe you didn't do, but you know what? You couldn't beat them, so you had to take it, and it was frustrating.
Yeah, there's Olson, Stella are right next to each other at the top of the mountain of Omaha baseball. Speaking of Ralston, man, it pains me when I drive there on 84th, and I know that at the high school they have a beautiful new baseball softball complex, but that Orville Smith just kind of sits. I expect that some nights the lights to be on and lots of games going on, and it's kind of few and far between. Because I don't. Are they going to just? Is the city just going to get rid of it? Or
I don't know. I thought I heard somebody was going to
at least keep it up.
Yeah, I thought so. I think they are, at least for the time being. I think there are games scheduled on it. I'm sure there's probably some tournaments, maybe some 14-year-old select and stuff playing there.
I mean, we gotta preserve. We are running out of grass baseball fields.
Yeah.
Roddy Field is still grass.
Roddy's great.
But
I loved Roddy.
Papio and Papio South just had new turf put in.
Yep. Roddy was one of those fields, and anybody who's played there knows this. You dreaded the 6 o'clock game there because, especially in the summer, because the sun would set right in the batter's face. So when you're trying to pick up a 80-mile-an-hour fastball and you're dealing with the sun, that was the rare field that you'd actually have to go up to the plate on an evening game with sunglasses on. And it had a nasty lip at third. But something about ballparks when I was playing in high school, they didn't have, a lot of them have the grandstand. And so Roddy had the grandstand. So you felt like you're playing at like a little Rosenblatt stadium. It was a very cool setup. I love that field. And you bring up Orville from a field condition standpoint, it was so uneven terrain. They always tried to basically do different stuff to the grass and try to resurface it, returf it. And it almost made it worse and worse, but there were some amazing battles, amazing games, and amazing area tournaments in the summer that were played at that ballpark. So it's hard not to feel a little bit of charm with that ballpark.
Dennis adds another one in baseball. He didn't play a lot at either spot. Bryce Only from Nebraska.
Yeah, that's right.
Then he went to. Then he played for Raritan at Iowa Western, and then he went to Creighton. I think he was only at Creighton for a year.
Yeah,
he was a Chicago guy.
That was
infielder.
That was recent, wasn't it? Gosh, that wasn't that long ago.
Probably 6-7 years ago.
Okay,
that his eligibility expired, maybe even a little longer.
I think the reason I remember Matt Warren is because he was in the weekend rotation for Creighton, and then when he came from Nebraska, he was there at one point. He was there Friday. Then he was, I think maybe, then he just became their number 2. I think he got married the year that he was with Nebraska too. So yeah, he was already living life. Yeah.
Brandon Vogel living life from counterread.com. He'll join us shortly on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
What are you doing, hon? I thought we were going to pick up our Powerball with Power Play and Double Play tickets.
Hold on. I have to sit through this video meeting for work.
Do they realize how big the Powerball jackpot is?
I know, but these blowhards keep rambling on.
I don't want to miss my chance to win millions of dollars.
Well, neither do I. But how do I get these win bags to speed it up?
Dave, you're not on mute.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Play Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here.
And John Schreiner.
When the After Hours Lounge opens from 6 to 8 p.m., I drag John into all my conspiracy theories.
And I put up fierce resistance as the voice of reason in the room.
But along the way, we hit all the usual suspects: Huskers, Jays, Bruins.
And nobody goes in-depth on high school sports, bringing you all the best teams from around the Omaha Metro.
So stop by, open up a tab, and join in the crazy.
As the sports schedule allows,
we're brought to you by Bellevue University
on 1620 The Zone.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible. And release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience. I'm Greg Wagner.
Join the Omaha Storm Chasers this week at Werner Park for a series through Sunday. Enjoy food, drink, and ticket specials all week long with fun for fans of all ages. See what's in store and buy your tickets at omahastormchasers.com.
Everyone get on your feet, stir up the store with family.
The Nebraska Lottery presents 5 reasons the dollar bill is so great. First, it's always there when you need it. You can always find one folded up in your pocket, just waiting to get you out of a jam. Second, it's humble. It doesn't strut around like a 50 or 100 waiting for people to compliment it. Third, it works hard. Whether you need more money for a tip or extra detergent at the laundromat, a dollar bill sure comes in handy. Fourth, it beats lugging around 100 pennies. And fifth, you can use it to buy a Lotto America ticket from the Nebraska Lottery. Lotto America only costs $1. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So visit a Nebraska Lottery retailer today and buy a Lotto America ticket. Ooh, sounds like someone tried to pay with 100 pennies. So sad.
Lotto America top prize odds 1 in 26 million.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Tomorrow is 10 weeks, right? 10 weeks tomorrow, 10 Saturdays to go.
I love that.
Once we get through the College World Series, everybody's talking about media days and then camp starts. And we're off for football. And we are on to Brandon Vogel from counterread.com. Good Friday morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning, guys.
Yep. B-Vogues, can you hear us?
I got you. You got me?
Oh, he's talking.
He's talking, and nothing's been changed.
No. This thing again. You know, it's been a while since we've done the stream. Well, actually, no. We had it just 2 days ago with you.
Yeah. Are you good now, Jimmy?
Test.
I'm going to call him because this is just like a couple weeks ago. So
yeah.
All right.
Let's call him.
If he can hear us and everybody else in the stream, we do apologize. We will bring him on the
if all else fails, we'll just text him questions and then we'll read you his response.
Which is
We've done that before.
Probably the way that it's gonna go.
Love it.
Yeah.
Big Ten Media Days too. Now what, about 4 weeks away?
July 24th is when Nebraska is at the three-day media
festivity.
extravaganza of Big Ten football.
I mean, really, we only have to get through those weeks and then just football's on the brain. Then we're good.
That's why yesterday was a nice little midsummer. Matt Rule shows up, nice and tan.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask this question of Brandon, and now he refuses to talk to us via the phone. Or is he back? Okay. I feel like I'm an air traffic controller over at Epley Airfield.
Just keeping them along.
How about the Southwest flight in Oklahoma City?
Hmm?
Yeah, you have to read it.
Okay.
Jimmy, yay or nay? Okay. I don't know if you guys are doing sign language. Didn't know if you'd like to. Hey, all right. We're gonna fake bunt and steal here. Okay, this is not a hit and run. You don't need to swing, anything like that.
Well, make sure you don't know where the wipe off is. Okay.
So I mentioned Morgan Wallen might be here tomorrow.
Yeah, to get confirmation.
So I think Bishop is listening. So people that he may want to interview.
Mm-hmm.
Clay Travis has just let all of his audience know that he'll be here, the diehard Vol
guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we get him on?
I gotta. Before Clay Travis became Clay Travis, he used to be a regular on the show. I'll explain. I'll tell
okay.
All right, we are now joined by Brandon Vogel. We apologize for that. Thank you very much for working with our curveball. You've hit it out of the ballpark. Good morning.
Good morning. No problem at all.
Hey, so yesterday was nice. A little chat with the head coach. It seems like every day comes along and there's something positive about Nebraska from the outside. Joe Klatt doubled down yesterday. Phil Steele's got Nebraska ranked 33rd overall. And I don't want to read too much into body language of Rule yesterday talking about his team. There's the feel that I get, B. Vogues, that he's got a little bit of quiet confidence, and I need to see results like all of us, but he feels good about his team. Do you sense that? Or do you sense this, that he enjoys being the head football coach at Nebraska, and we haven't had somebody that gives that body language feeling out in a long time?
Wow, that's good. That's a really good way to put it. I think it's not to take a cop-out answer, but it's some of both.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if the latter, if I feel like the latter is true, which I do, it's hard to know how much of the former then how much stock to put into that. But my read is I think he knows Nebraska, if not for kind of a bizarre collection of events when you talk about the QB injuries and then the turnovers, which it's not like Nebraska wasn't responsible for that stuff. It was, but it's a lot of randomness, a lot of stuff that's tough to control. The offense had just been a little bit better. We're talking this offseason about a Nebraska team that maybe goes 6-6 or maybe even 7-5. So that would be the starting point. And I think internally, like if you truth serum to Matt Rule, it might be where he views their starting point going into this 2024 season, which, then all of a sudden changes, I guess, some of these preseason projections. But here we are. We know where Nebraska is coming from in the real world. It's 5-7, haven't been to a bowl game since 2016. And Husker fans have been burned before. So it's gonna be the summer of skepticism, I think. All well kind of quietly internally being a little bit excited for what could be.
Brandon, this question was posed to me yesterday after Matt Rule spoke about made some comparisons to how people look at Ohio State when they get someone come through camp and then they offer, and then immediately, the star level spikes and they're not necessarily looked at as a developmental piece, but more of this guy's a big time prospect, as opposed to if Nebraska sees somebody they offer and it's chalked up to more of what Matt Rule and his staff are going to be known for. Someone was asking, is Matt Rule, is he comparing the different situations that they have because it frustrates him, or is it because that was set out of pride of what they do, how they identify talent, and more importantly, maybe how they're selling their, the recruits on what they're going to do when they get here?
Yeah, I took it as more of a pride thing of like, hey, it's good to be known as kind of the person who's good at finding uncovered gems, but like we don't look at it that way. Like if we're offering a guy, we don't care what his other offers are. We think he's a future NFL player. Is essentially how Matt Rule put it, and I think like this is something that'll prove out a little bit over time because we've seen Nebraska in the past, and they've done a good job with this cycle, with this group of coaches of, I think when they identify those players, they offer them right away. And there's not a lot of times I can remember where it kind of moves up the chain, where it's like, oh, if Nebraska's on this guy, then all of a sudden, say Michigan, Wisconsin, some of these other schools are in. We've seen that happen in Nebraska in the past. I think it will continue to happen when Nebraska offers a guy to the future, because a lot of times they're picking a guy who may have some MAC offers, they have a couple of equivalent offers, I would say. So it's just kind of where you are, I think, in the overall recruiting food chain in terms of what happens after that.
1 second here. All right. Somebody, John Hull just committed to Nebraska, a kicker. I just wanted to, like Matt Rule tweeted something out of GBR staying home, and I'm like, Christian, no. So
what do we got?
So we have discussed this after watching the wide receivers, and I think Matt Rule, after last year, wanted to do Garrett McGuire a solid. Did not deliver him a great room from top to bottom, or a room that could withstand some injuries, and maybe it wasn't as good as it could have been. But the younger guys got better, and he went out and said, I'm going to help you with some older guys. We know that the wide receiver room probably has more depth since a couple of Bo's last year's. But certain guys in that room, I want your assessment on what you think their 2024 will look like with competition in front of them. First, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, who got hurt early last year, and then also Malachi Coleman.
Yeah, so those are two good ones to start with. So I kind of look at this, everybody stays healthy in a vacuum. Banks is probably your leading receiver in terms of catches, maybe yards, so maybe not yards, because I think Nayor, best case scenario, becomes kind of your big play threat. And I think Nebraska has a couple of big play threats. So with those two in particular, I kind of see Garcia Castaneda maybe being a little more like Marcus Washington, when he was healthy last year, like could make you some plays downfield, but was pretty sure-handed. There were games where he had his number of receptions kind of crept up there. And then with Malachi, remains, big and athletic. He's a little bit in the Nayor category of, I think he's a guy you want to push the ball to downfield a couple of times a game just to see what happens. Because at that point, the quarterback factors into this too. It becomes, can your wide receiver win? And I think Malachi is a guy who's building towards that and can be that for them. So it gets pretty intriguing when you look at it, and when you fold tight end into this too, which we'll see how ready to go he is. Might include Carter Nelson. Nebraska is going to have a lot of options in the passing game.
The another part of yesterday's conversation, because we saw Jalen Gramstead become a product of this year, but with the different summer camps that are not necessarily for incoming freshmen too, but guys that either exist in junior college or are grad transfers, whatever it might be. It brought up James Williams again, and I feel like when we talk about this defensive line, that we forget how impactful he was in spells and being able to rotate and being able to provide depth there too. I don't think, Brandon, that needs to be the gold standard when it comes to this part of the year and being able to discover those types of guys. But I also feel like that's another good indication, going back to the question I asked you earlier about their ability to identify, but maybe more importantly, like James Williams, be able to develop as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and it's kind of, if you can use that time, this time of year, and so they've done it twice now in terms of these kind of graduate transfers, quote unquote. Williams is coming from junior college, of course, right. But if you can build that reputation of like, that's a camp you want to go to because you might get a shot. Mm-hmm. They've done it 2 years in a row now. Williams, is the guy you add in the summer, and it's like, okay, great. Here's what he did, and here's who he is, like what you can tell about him, and then he just works and ends up on the field. With Gramstad, like Nebraska's chance to kind of thread the needle here and get a little bit of help at quarterback with only 3 scholarship QBs and 2 of them being true freshmen. Like, I don't think they had a ton of options. Like, who in the portal's coming over here to do that? Right. Probably nobody. But you find a guy who's won a ton, who literally topped out at the level he was at. And I think the added benefit from that is, these guys, whether they get a scholarship or they come as a walk-on, like they almost by default have kind of a walk-on mindset of like, hey, I'm getting an opportunity that, you may not know was going to come. Certainly if you're, playing football at NAIA, maybe in junior college, it's a little bit different, but either way, I think you get guys who are going to work and who have proven themselves, which for me is like the biggest thing in the transfer portal, more so than whatever recruiting ranking a guy started out with.
Brandon Vogel joining us. You can follow his work at counterread.com. Brandon and Aaron Sorensen, some fantastic stuff up there as we lead into 10 Saturdays from the start of the season tomorrow. Another thing announced yesterday, because camp will be here before you know it, and there are some guys that miss spring that could factor heavily in rotations this upcoming fall. Turner Corcoran, Deshaun Singleton, Gabe Ervin. The Tan Man said, not Keith, the Tan Man said that if practice started today, they would be available to start. Of those three, knowing offensive line, defensive back, running back, which one was most encouraging to you to hear that they're good to go?
I would probably go Singleton, Corcoran, Irvin in terms of, I think, needs for Nebraska. I look at the secondary, and it's got Singleton's one of the three pillars I think you can put back there, along with Gifford, and probably Tommy Hill. You got the other corner spot. You got Hartzog, who could do that, but was playing a lot more nickel corner in the spring. So getting Singleton being healthy and picking up from where he left off is important. Corcoran, folds into like what this offensive line looks like, because he could play at multiple spots, and I kind of look at him as assuming Prohaska takes that left tackle spot and keeps it. It allows Nebraska to go beyond just kind of like the first five we could all name right now pretty easily. And then Irvin, he's been good in limited bits that we've been able to see him. It's just the health piece of it. So he was, those first couple of games, he was clearly the guy. So the trust level is there. You've just got a couple more other options that I think are closer to equal in the running back room.
I wondered this, and he kind of said this yesterday about Matt Rule periodically checking in with us. He said he really does like us, and he likes to give us content, which is always welcome. But this kind of goes back to what Gary asked. Does that come from, in your opinion, and he says intentionality? We know some of the things that he says intentionality when it comes to recruiting and getting the message out to recruits, getting that content out, that we're going to talk about it as well. But I get the feeling he does enjoy that part of it. And it's kind of to Gary's point, maybe that's just love of the job, or he just likes to communicate with the people that do cover this program because it's going to benefit in the long run. Is yesterday another example of that, in your opinion?
I think so. I mean, I can't remember the time, like, there were coaches who would talk to you in June,
right?
If you bumped into them at a camp, but like setting this up and being like, okay, and not just setting it up, but saying, this is it until media days, just so you know, for advanced planning, which is above and beyond for people in our spot. I think all of it's intentional. He talked about the camps as being not just a camp, but also a marketing opportunity. All of this media stuff is as well. I think the access that they allowed is intentional because, from our perspective, maybe this is too inside media baseball, but like, it improves everyone's coverage to go and do a cooking demo, which a group of reporters did a couple of weeks ago, including Aaron Sorensen from my colleague at Counter Read. Is it something the fan base is hungry to hear about right now? Maybe not. But when it comes to like writing a story down the line about the nutrition program, like these people getting the opportunity to have the hands-on experience with it, I think makes things better. And it gives them a better understanding of the program, which provides better coverage, which is better for Nebraska fans. It's better for the media. And ultimately, it's better for the program.
A question that Nick posed a little bit ago that I want to circle back to, because you wrote about it earlier in the week. And if you are a Substack subscriber to Counter Read, it shows up at 6 a.m. in your inbox. It's perfect if you're up or you're just getting up, one of the first things you read. But you went into this thing about recruiting. And I guess until I read the article, I didn't realize that Nebraska had that many offers out for the class of 2026. I know they're being proactive. They work ahead. They just have gone through a run of camps where they have a lot of kids from a lot of different states that are on campus. So they're offering them scholarships. But as you broke down some of the offers, is there anything that stands out in what they're trying to pursue, or what catches their eyes for when they're building 25, 26, and 27 and even beyond in terms of their offers?
Yeah. So it took about 350 offers to land the previous class, 24. For 25, they're already at 250-ish, and then 150-ish for 2026. So I think that's kind of what it's going to take. And the tack I chose to take was looking at that by positions. Where are they spending the resource of time for their coaching staff? And it wasn't so much that, well, there were a couple things that stood out as maybe uniquely Nebraska. They're pretty heavy on the athletes, which I think, we've seen. And Nebraska will take a guy. They're like, yeah, you can run this fast or jump this high or whatever it may be. And we'll figure out where you fit. So that stood out. The other piece, I don't know, this is unique to Nebraska, but it struck me as the smart way to play it. They've really put a lot of chips at what I think are pretty key positions in terms of offensive tackle, wide receiver, corner, and then not so much edge rusher. That was kind of the one where I thought maybe there'd be more, but maybe you cover that up a little bit with the athletes or the linebacker offers because they were a little bit heavier there. So that's kind of what jumped out to me. Those are the positions that are going to be the most competitive for players just nationally. They're the players that I think can really impact and raise a team's ceiling. If you're right at corner, tackle, wide receiver, et cetera, you have a chance to be pretty good, even if you don't recruit like Ohio State, Georgia, et cetera, across the board.
I don't want to make this more than what I think Gary and I agree it is, and it's a good story with Jalen Gramstead, but there's a section of fans that saw that news yesterday, and I saw this put out by a well-regarded member of the media yesterday that maybe that addition allows Nebraska to be a little bit more loose with how they want to play Heinrich Harburg. In your opinion, is Jalen Gramstead, is it more than just a good story? Is there something more to that addition to the quarterback room on how it can impact the rest of the quarterbacks there?
Yeah, I think it has the opportunity to be more than just a good story. I mean, I think he is a live option to, if Nebraska needs to go down the QB depth chart, which it needed to go to number 3 last year. He's probably in that mix based on his experience. The transition from NAIA to Big Ten football is going to be steep. So that'll be the key question. But it reminds me a lot of the situation at Illinois last year. They got a guy, John Paddock, who'd been a starter at Ball State, so a little bit different. But Illinois football was like his family lineage, and he went there to basically knowing he was probably going to be the backup. Ended up winning 2 games for him. I think that's the ceiling for a Gramstead potentially. I think that's why you bring him in. And it feels like a little bit of a luxury to get him, I believe. Does it allow them to use Harburg a little bit more creatively? I hadn't thought of that angle actually, but it could. Heinrich is athletic enough that, yeah, I can see the staff wanting to get him on the field instead of just potentially having a headset and a different colored cap on the sideline.
Hey, thank you very much for adjusting with us. We always enjoy the conversation, and people want to know what's next. I mean, you're churning out some great stuff on content and angles. What's next for counterread.com?
Yeah, so I mentioned to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't gotten to it yet, but I think we're finally going to hit on that running back room with the news of Gabe Ervin being ready to go and looking at what that looks like. A little teaser. I think Emmett Johnson may have done more than is immediately apparent last year. So work through that a little bit. How Ramir Johnson potentially fits in there. And then I'm actually excited to dig into Gramstead a little bit more as the weeks go on. So those 2 are high on my list for forthcoming newsletters.
Fantastic stuff. B. Vogues, have a great weekend.
You too, guys. Thanks a lot.
Counterread.com. Quick nugget here. A Pete tweet. This is great for people that watch on TV because they can actually see the facial reaction. Used to be just radio, and you'd be like, I wonder what they're doing. Oh, now on TV.
I just watched the
1620. Really change private.
I look like a little lizard. What was the movie? It wasn't a movie. Well, it was like a television series where they were lizards and they pulled off their faces. It was on over the air TV, NBC. They were lizards.
They're lizards. They turn into humans?
But they were people, and they were.
It wasn't My Two Dads. I know that.
God, I'll think of it. Okay. I don't know.
Jim Morrison was a lizard king.
Stop with that and pause for a moment because I'm going to tell you something that a Pete tweet just had. Garrett Classy, remember him?
Oh, V, by the way.
V, that's right. Thank you very much. Whoever brought that up.
That was Andy and Charles. Thank you, Andy and Charles.
I love that. Love that. That was, it creeped me out, but I loved it. Yeah, they'd pull up their face. They were lizards. Okay, so Garrett Classy. You guys remember the name Garrett Classy?
Yes.
So Garrett Classy was supposed to be the athletic director when Bill Moose retired.
Yeah.
But Bill Moose was not allowed to retire. He basically retired himself.
He did.
With the help of others.
Right.
And then signed his name
Sometimes
on a
it
piece of
happens.
paper.
Yeah.
But Garrett was going to be the replacement for Bill Moose. Trev comes in. Garrett Classy's contract has some time on it.
Mm-hmm.
His role was very much diminished.
There's an office by the copier machine.
So Garrett, when his contract was up at Nebraska, left. He's going to be the new athletic director at Fresno State.
Wow.
So
All
he
right.
was. So he left Nebraska and went to Houston, where he was the deputy AD.
Mm-hmm.
Houston fired
They
their
have an
athletic
opening?
director yesterday.
Okay.
But so Garrett Classy, because he was, when Moose left, he was the interim.
Mhm.
Then Trev came in and he was no longer the interim.
Right.
Um,
We had to ask sometimes if he was still there.
yeah, no, because he
Did.
was.
He did.
I mean, he was the guy behind the Garth Brooks concert.
Yeah. And he was the athletic director, the interim athletic director when Will Bolt got his extension. Just saying. People said, hey, well, there's your next athletic director.
So Garrett's now the athletic director at Fresno State.
Good for him. Good for him.
He's a nice guy. I just know that Moose said that he's going to be the guy that replaces me.
Mm-hmm. And I remember a lot of people after
actually
Will Bolt
did.
got extended, people said, well, you don't need to look anymore. You need to make him the full-time athletic director.
Yes.
Mhm.
Those were
You
the
remember
times
that?
where we were just throwing around
Yep,
money.
you
back
remember
then.
that?
Yeah.
Hey, Matt Davison, he should be the athletic director.
Mike Schaefer, not the athletic director, joins
could
us
be.
next.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time Saving Traffic Center. Happy Feel Good Friday. It's been a quiet morning in the Omaha Metro with no accidents or delays to report. We just got a disabled vehicle in the right shoulder westbound I-80 at 84. Otherwise, traffic flow is smooth sailing, so you don't have to worry about being late to your destination. Hope you enjoy a fantastic weekend. Just be sure to buckle up, drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
The electrical market requires your company to adjust to an ever-changing field. IBEW Local 22 gives you flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, and proven training programs. Call Bob at IBEW Local 22 for details at 402-980-7596.
Don't answer that. It's another roof gypsy ringing the doorbell. They are attempting to capitalize on the misfortune that Mother Nature has thrown your way. Make the right call to a trusted company that has faithfully served the Omaha area for over 35 years. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
For roofing, siding, and gutter repair, make the right call to John Higgins Weather Guard.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Rooferees. Make the right call.
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Our experienced agents blend local expertise with cutting-edge technology to provide top-notch personalized service to all clients. Don't settle for less when you can save big without compromising. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today. Modern Real Estate, redefining the way you do real estate.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620thezone.
The 2024 Men's College World Series plays here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Presented locally by Woodhouse Ford. Every pitch, every hit, every game. Also brought to you by Midwest Ford Dealers, the Henry Dorley Zoo, and Velocity Clinical Research. Don't miss a minute of Omaha's biggest event, the 2024 Men's College World Series on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's welcome in our good friend from Husker 24/7, 1620 The Zone's very own Mike Schaefer. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Good. How are you doing on this first day of summer? You going to go to Tropical Smoothie Cafe and get a free smoothie because it's summertime? You're going to be wearing flip-flops? You're going to be doing cannonballs? Pool day with HUD? What are you doing?
You seem very fired up.
It's first day of summer.
I think my plans are to work mostly. I think try to get some stuff done. I'm going out to play Prairie Club on Sunday and Monday. So I got to get a bunch of work done. Naturally, I picked the wrong weekend to miss because, Nebraska has a bit of a visit weekend going on. But Brunson, BC will hold down the fort while I get to play Prairie Club for the first time. So very excited about that.
Hey, have fun out there. I've only heard great things. It's on a lot of people's bucket list in the state of Nebraska. So good for you.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I have a group of friends that organized it, and they needed someone to bring down the total handicap of the group. And so,
are you staying on the property out in Valentine?
Yeah, we're staying out there.
Nice. By the way, we'll circle back to this via text, but you do realize that Quail is fully open 18. So I think we all have a visit coming up to good old Platte County soon.
Yeah, I played that at the very beginning of the month for a Memorial Golf Tournament, and it was good. We ended up winning that, so that was nice.
Oh, even better!
I finally won a championship.
Way to go! Did you get a little clubhouse credit?
No, it was straight cash.
Oh, even better!
Clubhouse credit. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't need to buy a Titleist golf hat this time around.
All right. So I see why Shelby resigned her position. Good on you, man. You're a ringer. What's your read into Jaden Doss being a full-time defensive back?
I think it's interesting. I mean, we've seen a lot of movement. I feel like the last stop that Nebraska seems to have with some of these really athletic guys is to see if they can play defensive back. We saw it with, Jeremiah Charles has moved back there, Bryce Turner has moved back there, and now Jaden Doss. It might also speak to sort of the depth at the wide receiver room. It might speak to how they feel about Ja'Cory Barney, who in my mind effectively sort of comes in as the Jaden Doss of last year, kind of a smaller, do everything athlete wide receiver, where you may not need to have as many guys in that position. And if Jaden Doss has the athleticism and the ability to go play defensive back, and you might have a little bit of a numbers issue there with just sort of where things have kind of fallen at corner, you're just trying to get value out of an athlete the best you can. And they've clearly made the determination that he can be more valuable on the defensive side of the ball. I just don't know that it means we're going to see a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
unless, they have some sort of injury. And I also don't know that it guarantees that it's going to work. I get a little when I see guys bounce positions. And especially when it was one where it was like, I don't know that anyone was recruiting Jaden Doss to play defensive back. So you have to give Nebraska a little leeway. They clearly know what they're looking for. But sometimes it's just, let's try this before potentially we both just need to move on from each other. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here. But sometimes when you see guys switch positions, it just has to do with trying everything before you have to ultimately make a decision.
Well, and Shafe, that piece of Jaden Doss moving to defensive back is not an immediate help, you would think, but the visit by Sayer Wright shows that opposite of Tommy Hill, that corner position opposite of Tommy Hill, is still very much open for business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are certainly interested in trying to find cornerback help. That injury to Bly Hill certainly changed the calculus of what cornerback was supposed to look like if everything was good. But it's also an opportunity to just add talent. And we saw, this week, whether it's the NAIA Player of the Year, I believe they just added a kicker here.
Yep.
They're always open to adding talent, however they can add talent, or adding help, however they can add help, however we want to phrase it. And so I think Sayer Wright would fit into that. I don't know that he would come in and immediately start. I would have a little concern just because, he did get benched during 2023, but so did Tommy Hill. And he obviously came back in 2022. Tommy Hill got benched. He obviously came back and played very well. So I think that, if you're Nebraska, you're always kind of keeping your eye open if there's someone that can help you. And that corner spot has really sort of become a big part of the conversation this summer.
Hey, can you help me and everybody else what the recruitment of Mekhi Nelson is?
Yeah, well, he's a running back that they like. He is a prep guy, which means he's already graduated high school. So in theory, and this is what I think is a strong possibility if he ends up at Nebraska, in theory, he could arrive, this summer, join the team, and potentially play right away. Now, I think he's a guy that's probably ticketed for a red shirt, would need some time because he's going to be, if he ends up in Nebraska, he'd be a late summer addition. But it's the sort of scenario where, again, Nebraska sees someone that they think could help. They have a running back room that has no guarantees at all. And they already have a running back in their 2025 class in Jamarian Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have Connor Booth. So I think there's some question as to ultimately if it's definitely running back, if it's definitely football, all of those sorts of things. But they have guys that they like in 2025. But they also like Mekhi Nelson. If you have the space and if he's interested, and all sides agree, it doesn't hurt to get him into the mix now. And so I think that's where things are headed, if that's what Mekhi Nelson wants to do. Now, he may want to just play prep football for St. Thomas More and see where his recruitment goes. But I think he had a pretty good visit based on, all accounts this week. And I wouldn't be surprised if a decision happens sometime soon.
I know you mentioned the weekend that is for Nebraska. Chase Lofton, obviously one of the big names too. But what can you tell us about Will Hawthorne out of Iowa?
Yeah, he's a linebacker that Nebraska, I think, is bringing in. I mean, it could be sort of a backup plan to Dawson Merritt, another linebacker that they had visit for the spring game. That it's Nebraska and Alabama. There seems to be some belief that Alabama has kind of pulled ahead there and could be getting that commitment sometime soon. So Nebraska could be setting up, trying to add another linebacker. Obviously, they're recruiting Christian Jones as well, and that's not necessarily a guarantee that he ends up in Lincoln. So I think they just see a talented kid in Iowa, bringing him over and seeing if there's something there while waiting to see what happens with Dawson Merritt and ultimately Christian Jones. And if they were to be in a position where you end up with all three, which I don't know if that's very likely, but if you do end up with all three, I mean, there are clearly three linebackers that they feel like can play in a defense where you sort of mix and match pieces. Like, I don't think Dawson Merritt, Christian Jones are the exact same linebacker. Nor do I think that Will Hawthorne is exactly like those guys. And then you also have Pierce Newberry and other linebackers of that effect. I mean, I think that's one of those positions. We used to joke about the Travis Fisher cross-training thing.
Mm-hmm.
The linebacker room, a guy might start as a middle linebacker, end up as an outside linebacker, and grow into being a defensive end. I just think that there's always the possibility that they can move around. So if they see someone that's talented enough to play at the second level early in their career, I think that they are always going to be interested in that. And I think that's where Will Hawthorne ultimately falls.
Hey, let's play your favorite game. So come on down, Mike Schaefer. Let's decipher tweets.
No.
You and I have talked a lot about Dawson Merritt, and I firmly believe that after his visit to Nebraska felt really, really good in the ground they made up, the presentation, and that they were in a really, really good spot. Then he went to Alabama. We're a ways away from his last trip to Lincoln. We're now a fair amount away from his trip to Tuscaloosa. He hasn't committed. His dad, who, his dad has let his son be his own. His dad knows the game of football with the Chiefs. He tweeted this out yesterday. Trust the whisperer, ... My message to Dawson this morning with praying hands, ... You have any inkling in what that might mean?
I can't say that I know exactly what that means. Plus, we could also play this game with Dawson himself, who had a shush emoji, I believe is how it would be referred to as.
So do you think dad thinks X is the right place for his son, but son thinks X is the right place for him?
I think there's probably a little bit of a back and forth there. I'm not entirely sure though. I mean, it could just be a thing where, trust the whisper means listen to what's quiet, not what's loud. What's loud could be social media where, either you have a bunch of Nebraska fans are blowing up your social media, or what seems like it could also be loud is the expectation that of course you would go to Alabama. Of course you would pick the program that's bigger and has been better and isn't, right now a has been. And so I wonder if I'm deciphering this, I wonder if trust the whisper means think about, what matters to you that's quiet and don't get caught up with what's loud. But, I also could just be completely pulling that out of the recesses of my brain. It might not mean any of that because it's Twitter and it's 2024 and who the hell knows?
That was a fun game. Congratulations.
Yes, I think you won. I think you
thank you.
You
What's
passed
my
with
prize?
flying colors.
I get to go to the Prairie Club. That's my prize.
That's a pretty good prize.
You
right
get
there.
to host a show during the summer on 1620 The Zone.
Excellent.
Real quickly, I asked this question earlier, and I want to phrase it differently for you because of Matt Rule talking a little bit about the camps. He brought up Ohio State.
And murder. Matt Rule talking about murder.
Yeah, he talked about how his daughter wants to be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers too, which I take a lot of exception with. But I move on from that.
That was, by the way, awkward when he was talking about that. But continue.
the rep, I just as plain as I can ask this, based on what you have gained and learned from prospective recruits, does Nebraska have a definitive reputation when it comes to recruiting right now with the staff?
I think the closest thing that they have, and you hear this from more so from guys that are coming out of their official visit, but I think it gets passed off to those who are about to take their official visit, is Nebraska presents really strong family vibes. Now, a lot of programs do that, but I think the way Nebraska goes about in doing it, I think they have. And obviously, I'm not on these official visits, but just listening to Malcolm Simpson or different people here recently, I think they build in a lot of family time. And what I mean by that is Matt Rule's family is on the premise. Tony White's family is on the premise. Their wives and their kids are talking with your mom and dad if you're an official visitor, or your younger brother, or your grandma and grandpa. And so they try to make it this interconnected thing. So it feels like if you're sending your son from Texas to Nebraska, he's going to have someone there that's going to care for him that's beyond just his football coach. And so I think that's become like a really big thing as to how, and it was at Baylor. This was a big part of Baylor. I think this is what he's doing at Nebraska. I think it's very well received for the most part. I don't know that that qualifies so much as a reputation, but it's ultimately how Matt Rule would want someone to describe his football team. He would want someone from the outside to walk away and say, man, that's a big family. Those guys really care about each other. They really care in the way that whenever someone in your family is hurting, you're hurting. Whenever someone in your family is happy, you're happy. And so I don't know if that distinctly answers your question, but I know that's the goal. I know that's what they want to build.
We'll get you out on this. This is a little bit of the addition to the quarterback room yesterday. I know that 15 is at the top of that quarterback room, so this may skew this question. But any other time, if Nebraska was going into a season with 2 true freshman quarterbacks, another quarterback that had been in the program for a while but has just 8 starts under his belt, now an addition of an NAIA player with 1, maybe 2 years of eligibility left, and then some walk-ons behind that, we would be panicking. Why are we comfortable with the quarterback room with that lack of experience right now?
Well, I think the comfort stems from the expectation of what Dylan Raiola can be. I think it comes from how things looked with the spring game. I think it comes from just the way that both the outside media and the local media have talked about things. I don't think there's a sense of panic about Nebraska's quarterback play. I think it also helps that this would be the 3rd time in the last little over a decade, 15 years, that Nebraska's ultimately started an incredibly green quarterback. And previously it was Taylor Martinez and Adrian Martinez. And despite the win-loss record, at least for Adrian Martinez, the talent clearly was there. He clearly was fine being a freshman quarterback. And so I think Nebraska fans are sort of beyond that point. I think the scary part for some is just what happens if Dylan Raiola gets hurt, because Nebraska hasn't had a quarterback play, every start since Tanner Lee in 2017. And even he got knocked out of games where Patrick O'Brien had to come in. So I think there's just some concern there as to, what version of Heinrich Harburg are you going to get? And my argument to that would largely be, what version of Nebraska offense are you going to get? Because I don't think it's going to be 2023. I think they got a lot more playmakers. I think there's a lot more you could do, a lot more Heinrich Harburg could do in 2024. And I think that's why Nebraska's pretty confident in all of it. And Jalen Gramstad to me is a cool story. And I've gotten in trouble on my message board and on your station last week for voicing this, essentially. But I don't know that I'm at the point where I expected this. I don't expect him to be the backup quarterback this year. I wouldn't really expect him to play. Now, if he redshirts, he could be a really nice depth piece for you in 2025. But I don't know that it changes the calculus a whole lot for me about what the upcoming season means.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's also June 21. It's a good story. Let's just let the story breathe before we start sliding him into spots. One quick thing here. We got him about a minute. All the quarterbacks that are on the roster right now, and this may be, hey, let's throw some more flowers at Glenn Thomas. Injury, or you're not injured. How many quarterbacks, truthfully, Shafe, on June 21, do you feel confident in a final minute drive that would be able to execute it that are on this roster right now?
Oh, man. Do I feel confident in any of it? I guess it'd just be one. I have a rational confidence in Dylan Raiola. Okay. I have relative confidence in Heinrich Harburg. It's just hard because last year it didn't go so well in those scenarios. But I would say I have at least. Can I go 1.5? Give me 1.5.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that. I think eventually they want to get to. It doesn't matter. They can win with any quarterback, but that's further down the road.
It's important to quickly qualify. And Stu Manji, who's a big listener of 1620 and often tweets out his stats, it hasn't mattered who the quarterback is in that scenario for Nebraska for quite some time.
Yeah, we did that the other day. Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, Shafe, I appreciate it. Enjoy the golf. Can't wait to hear the stories and also the coverage on another big recruiting weekend.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
See you,
It's, Mike J. Schaefer. That's it.
It is a J too.
I wouldn't mind making that trip out to Valentine.
Never been. I haven't been there, and Landmine. Those are the two that are now. Well, I gotta be on the ball on what is it? I think December 31st when you got to get your reservation for Landman.
Yeah.
But if you're ever if your reservation ever drops or you're looking for people, I know Gary and I would go. We'd go to Landman. Homer's only about an hour and a half away. Make that drive lickety split.
Yeah.
Have you played Landman yet?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I was looking to play Sandhills, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Now people don't even talk about Sandhills. Nope. I'm just kidding. They do. But it's, hey, we'll land in Omaha. We'll go get on Lost Rail.
Yeah.
And then we'll go west.
Yeah.
Hey, we are we welcome fans of the College World Series. We got bangers of golf courses. Some just happen to be further away.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to just,
Shorelines is right there, though. I know that's where a lot of the D1baseball.com guys go.
Is Shoreline?
Yeah, they're like, I'm getting around in at Shoreline. It's when they can't really leave downtown. They maybe got a night game, so they're going to keep it close. But on an off day, I'd like to think they go elsewhere. Shoreline's fine for it's very affordable. It's a fine course. It's convenient.
Yeah, it is.
It's convenient.
It is. I you want to relive your past days, you go to Spring Lake, play a little 9-holer right there by the Blatt.
Westwood.
Yeah, I mean we've got some great public courses here in town.
That's where Connor had to fake the hole in one too.
Matt Verzal's coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Summer heat is back as we close out the week. Friday, expect mostly sunny, hot, humid, and breezy conditions. South wind gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Expect highs around 90 with feels-like temperatures in the mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
It's easy to see the common signs of transmission trouble.
If your engine revs before it falls into gear. If it seems to switch gears for no reason. So watch for the signs. Certified transmission, the job done right at the right price.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, planning a trip to a state park? One of Nebraska's 76 state park lands? Excellent. But don't forget your state park permit, money for camping fees and other activities, a fishing permit if you want to wet a line, and oh yeah, a 6-foot leash for Scruffy, your pet. Thank you, and we hope to see you out there. By the way, you can get all kinds of information on the Nebraska State Park lands through the Game and Parks website. That web address is outdoornebraska.gov. Are you going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible. And release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience, and we'll see you out there. I'm Greg Wagner with Nebraska Game and Parks.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here.
And John Schreiner.
When the After Hours Lounge opens from 6 to 8 p.m., I drag John into all my conspiracy theories.
And I put up fierce resistance as the voice of reason in the room.
But along the way, we hit all the usual suspects: Huskers, Jays, Bruins.
And nobody goes in-depth on high school sports, bringing you all the best teams from around the Omaha Metro.
So stop by, open up a tab, and join in the crazy.
As the sports schedule allows.
We're brought to you by Bellevue University
on 1620 The Zone.
Ah, the sweet feelings of summer. The kiss of warm sun on your skin. The softly scented breeze blowing through the trees. Don't worry, you have Off Clean Feel, fragrance-free mosquito repellent that feels good on skin, so even mosquitoes can't ruin those sweet feelings of summer. Off Clean Feel, Prevention is the best protection from mosquitoes.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, I like that there are odds on what Celtic player is going to be trashed during their parade today. Porzingis, Tatum, Brown.
I think Brown.
Yeah. This would be something that I could interest our next guest in getting involved. Matt Verzal joins us. Good Friday morning.
Hi, boys. How we doing?
Good. I don't you couldn't when you won a national championship, it was too friggin' cold out to have like a parade, but you did have a celebration like once around spring ball. Do you remember any part of that, or was that just all celebration and so you went Jake Gensel and passed out on somebody's front porch?
Well, when we got back to the Ball Harbor, the whole lobby was full of people. And so, all the coaches, they were kind of like, okay, we're just going to disappear. You guys do your thing.
Yeah.
And one of my teammates, who shall remain nameless, he was bartending for a while. And the little Cuban gentleman at about 3 a.m. was like, or maybe 4 a.m, was like, no mas, no more. And he looked at him, he's like, we're still going. And then it just kind of kept going. But when we flew home, though, we had, in 94, the streets, when we got on the bus, those were lined with people, the streets, like out by the airport. And then once we got into the Devaney, it was full. It was full house. It was it was awesome. It was cold. There was snow on the ground, but no, Nebraska fan was there.
Is that a week-long thing? We hear about the Stanley Cup parades that it starts as soon as they get into the locker room. It continues when they leave the locker room. It continues into the next day. It leads all the way up to the parade. Was there a moment that you remember of, oh yeah, this is when it died down?
I think, it was riding a pretty good high. And, in a minuscule sense, there's nothing better than being part of the Kings of O Street. So I think it really maybe died off once fall or winter conditioning started.
Okay.
Because then it was back to reality and back to focus and all those things. So yeah, it was a good run. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Hey, how many people do you know that would be interested in having their remains inurned or interned at Memorial Stadium?
Columbarium.
Oh, just like personally, no. That's in my will. Like I got 2 things in there.
Okay.
If I get plugged into a wall, you just unplug it.
Okay.
I get cremated. Part of it goes to Wrigley. Part of it goes to Grand Island Senior High School. A little part to Malcolm, North Star, Northwest, Scott. And then my sister has to get she has to get some of the ashes compressed and wear it as a necklace.
All right.
So that's my now. There is, if you read the whole thing, she doesn't have to do it for a long time, but she doesn't listen, so we can just say that on here. I thought that would get a rise out of everybody once my time on Earth has passed. And then the words of Bobby Knight, I want they bury me upside down so my critics can kiss my ass.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Let's think about weird stuff like that.
Well, hey,
good catch, by the way. Good catch.
Thank you for not
good
going.
Catch.
Thank you for not going McAfee on us.
That was nice.
So
that was like a Chuck save.
I'm uncomfortable with this conversation because I'm uncomfortable with death, but the ashes and stuff. So I snuck in with a couple other guys because a longtime listener of a previous show I did on the network wanted his ashes in Memorial Stadium, and they wouldn't allow it. So we snuck in and spread them over one of the corners of the end zone. I think more people do that than we know, but maybe some people would like to pay to have this done. This could be a good NIL. What if your favorite Husker player, like you paid him like $100 and they spread, Dad's ashes on the end logo.
Yeah, and you just post it on social media. Yeah.
Boom.
Boom.
What a silly thing to say no to. They're proving to you that they want to be with you forever. That's how much they love you, and they love the great that you've had, and they love the mediocre that you've had. And you can't just say, you know what, grab your family, come in, we'll sprinkle it around. The things that we do as a society sometimes are just so dumb. That hurts nobody.
It's true.
Where would you like to start?
But if they were to build what was proposed by a region in a columbarium, essentially a mausoleum to display the urns, wouldn't the best place to do that be near the visitor's locker for intimidation purposes?
That's a little creepy. Like, I don't need to walk past, Merle, who passed away in 2024, and have his urn there. I would just like, hey, Earl, have your family take a scoop out of there, shuffle it on the field, and away we go.
There are so many possibilities here. On that note, let's transition to quarterbacks. I have a question, and I know that I probably reached my June quota for asking about the past, but how in the heck, back in the day, did Nebraska? I know there's part of winning cures all. But, man, I looked at so many of those quarterback rooms from 91 to 98 that were loaded with dudes, not just one or two, but I was going through the 91 quarterback room, Vers, when Clester was there, Tony was there, Brooke was there, Mike Grant was there, Todd Gragnano, who was a stud in California, was there.
Yeah.
There were a couple guys that transferred. Then there were guys that moved positions, whether it be Clester or Tony. But how in the heck did Turner and T.O. keep those loaded quarterback rooms happy?
Well, you need to stop spreading false information. Nobody transferred ever until the portal happened. So you keep your blasphemous words. No one ever left. Everybody stayed forever because the portal didn't exist, right?
Yes.
Kids back then are built different. And it wasn't Turner, it wasn't T.O. Kids were built different. They wanted the shot to say, you think he's better than I am? I don't. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to work every day. And they're competitive kids. That's why competitive, disciplined kids now always instantly outperform everybody. Because there's no competitive nature in kids anymore. And when you find one, if you do have one, that gets genuinely mad when they lose, and when they get a 4th place through 9th place trophy, they don't take it. Foster that. Tell them they're right, because that's what it's about. Like those rooms were competitive, and those kids wanted to prove they were better. So they stayed and they grinded and they got better at their trade. And barring a freak accident, you probably were going to have a guy that was a co-starter that was going to get a shot in the NFL and probably have a long career. May he rest in peace. Yes. But competitive people don't exist that much anymore. I'll take you are screwing me, coach. I'm leaving and we're taking 2 other players and we're starting our own team and we're going to show you. Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm. But like a competitive kid will stay and like, I'm going to show you, old man, that I'm better than this. I'm going to show you. And they might be right and they might be wrong. But that's the difference. It wasn't anything that T.O. or Turner did, except be awesome communicators.
Well, yeah.
Here's where you're at. Here's where we feel he's better. If you can close that gap, there you go.
Okay, so in this conversation we were having earlier about that room stemmed from the current quarterback situation in Nebraska of, you got 2 freshmen, one's going to start. And then yesterday you get the best player in NAIA who just wanted to be here. He just drove up here, tried out, got on the team, and now he's part of Nebraska's roster. I don't want to focus on what it could mean on the field for him individually, but for a guy that was willing to just go out there, compete, get in front of this coaching staff and take a chance, what can that do just from his overall presence in that quarterback room? in your opinion?
It just shows. I mean, it's a toughness thing. Like you're resilient now. If you go out there and you work and you're busting your ass, and your teammates see it, they're like, "Well, he's working that hard to be a backup. He's either a fool or I really got to step up my game to become better at what I'm doing." Right?
Yep.
So anytime you get competitive situation in a locker room, it can do nothing but make you better. It can do absolutely nothing but make you a better organization. You want that thing as competitive as possible all the time. Walking down the hallway, grades, lifts. And when your best players are your hardest workers, and I know that's cliche, but that matters. Body language matters. Attitude matters. Competitive situations matter.
Quick question here, and we'll get you out here, because we brought up his name earlier when we were looking at that room. Somebody, Chris wants to know, does Vers know whatever happened to Tom Haas?
Tommy Haas lives in Omaha, sells medical device.
Oh, nice.
Pride of Aurora.
Yes. And
still as big of a stud as he ever was, runs around with Glazier and Wannick and the whole crew. Tommy's the man.
That's a smart guy hanging out with his former offensive lineman.
Oh, man. I mean, and you, like, I've run into those dudes at the home opener. Weir, Wannick, Pat, God dang it, Engelbert,
yep,
Tommy Haas. I'm walking past Sports Corner, and I see this table of just monsters, right? Just behemoths. And I'm looking, I'm like, I know all those guys. I was like, hey, what's up, dude? And they're like, Vers, what's up? But they roll. You can't explain it to anybody. It's one of the more fun things, but everybody just rolls and cruise. And it's your thickest thieves, and it's fun and a good time.
Hey, Tom was one of the best high school athletes that we've seen in Nebraska in a long time in his days at Aurora.
You said it there.
Yep.
You said it there, bud. You got some triple jump record, I think.
I believe that's the case. I know in track and field. I mean, he was a multi-sport guy. Vers, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Hey, I got a favor. My sister and the baseball parents are putting on a golf tournament. I believe it's August 23rd at Woodland Hills. I'll put it out on my social media. You want to go play some golf, beat some baseball players? She's all revved up that the SEC gets so much NIL money for baseball, so they're trying to do their part and get some funds raised for the boys.
Yeah.
We'll pass it along. Your brother-in-law reached out a couple of weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, great.
So we'll take care of you, Vers.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, my friend. That's Matt Verzal. You can follow him on Twitter at Vers51.
That's right. Let's get
do you have that up?
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
For people, I think people by now know Vers's nephew, Max, is on the baseball team. And, of course, his dad and mom, fantastic athletes. And they are doing an NIL-type golf tournament for Nebraska baseball coming up in August.
Where is it? I'm having a tough time finding it right now. I'll get it here in just a sec, though.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. He'll have that. Again, Nebraska just adding depth. John Hole, a place kicker, has committed to Nebraska.
Just keeps coming.
Just recently got an offer from Coastal Carolina. I'm scrolling through his Twitter. But he has committed to Nebraska. So he's going to walk on.
Nice.
There will, hey, Tristan Alvano, who, again, I still have faith that he will, sophomore year, he will be fine. There's going to be some competition in that room for kicker. I said Cole, John Hole. So was, I think, slated to go to Iowa Western, and he is committed to walk on at Nebraska in this class. Offered by Iowa Western, McNeese State, Nebraska Wesleyan, Coastal Carolina. He's going to walk on at Nebraska. All right. Nick will get that golf information for you. Plus, what if a 78-year-old man showed up at your door to pick up your daughter? How would you feel? We started with ashes. we're going to end with this. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit ChampionSaveNow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. While discounts apply to our regular prices, select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The backseat. Check the backseat. All right, come here. Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, good way to end a Friday to kick off summer. That information on the golf tournament that Vers was referencing.
Yeah, this will be August 23rd. This is going to help support NIL opportunities for Nebraska baseball. So it is at Woodland Hills Golf Course in Eagle, Nebraska. You can get a team together for $700 per player, $175. 4-person scramble, 18 holes. 1 o'clock is registration, 2 o'clock shotgun start. There'll be an award ceremony to follow, and it's going to be amongst all of the Husker baseball players too. So you'll be amongst some dudes out there.
Versus Neff. Max is playing in the Northwoods League. I think he may have 5-6 at-bats this year. He made this position switch to catcher. He's off to a really, really good start. So that is great to see. Let me ask you guys a scenario. You are a diehard Patriots fan.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, but yeah.
And your daughter, who is 24, just graduated from college. And before she figures out her next step, she's back home living at your house.
Steve Rogan knocks at the door.
And her new boyfriend comes to the door. And it happens to be Bill Belichick.
Not Dick McPherson.
So many emotions would be going across.
So now this has become public, and some people are referring to Belichick as a pig. There's a 48-year gap.
Yeah.
But he is dating a 24-year-old. Should we care who Bill Belichick is dating?
No.
More power to him.
Yeah.
Hey, obviously stuff still works.
I'm actually kind of impressed.
Or do we go?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Guy still got it.
Because that's her issue.
She still got it.
Likes.
But what if he showed up to date your daughter and you were a Patriots fan? Would you give him, would it be like the old George Costanza's dad when Steinbrenner? And he just,
why did you get rid of Buna?
And he just starts giving him the business. Like, you're like, why did you make Tom leave?
Yeah.
I'd be like, Bill, I was hoping for Parcells.
Or
Mac Jones, Bill? Are you kidding me? Mac Jones?
Or would you like think it's cool and maybe take a picture?
Absolutely.
Start breaking down some film?
Oh, you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
It's a Boston fan.
Yeah.
It's a Patriot fan. You're taking pictures with it. And then he might even say, hey, don't worry, she'll be home by 11. He'll be like, oh, that's cool.
You totally fine.
She can stay with you overnight. I don't care.
You got any friends that have like a huge gap in age, whether they be dating or married?
So my wife is 9 years younger than me.
Okay. Is it okay? So let me. Wasn't that an old adage of men? You're supposed to like 8-9 years younger.
I always thought it was closer to maybe 3 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the old rule? Your age times 2 divided in half? Or?
There was a formula. Yes. I've since forgotten that.
I just thought it's, they're 18.
Now that I don't have to worry about that. Yes, there was a formula of, okay, this is where it's appropriate. This is where it's a bit icky. Yeah.
Icky?
Icky. Yeah. Icky, creepy. Maybe too young.
Does it feel icky?
I mean, if she's 6, yes.
Does it feel icky in your tummy?
You said it. I didn't.
You said tummy earlier.
I think I did actually.
There was good context.
But yeah, it wasn't like making a child reference.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about that. But,
I did when my parents got divorced and my dad, who, and my dad doesn't have any game. I did jokingly once he get, he figured out, oh my God, I've relied on my mom for so long. Now I'm by myself. I was like, Dad, why don't you get out there and just, you got some money.
Yeah.
I go, you got a good job. I go, you work in Major League Baseball.
You got a lot to bring
I go,
to a relationship.
why don't you just, you and Mom were about the same age. Why don't you? He never got that because I kind of wanted to live vicariously through him.
See how it goes? See how the dating world is now up in there? Yeah.
But I was just amazed that people are so infatuated with Bill Belichick and the age gap, which is 48 years.
I mean,
who's he supposed to date? He's supposed to date like an 80-year-old.
Well, wasn't he the lady he was with was mid-50s?
Yeah,
that's too old for him. He wanted young.
Well, it's like Leo DiCaprio doesn't date. And once you age out of your 20s, he breaks up with you. I mean, that's a known fact. It's Leo's.
It's fair. George Allen did that with rookies when he coached Washington. He did the over the hill gang. It's the opposite.
Whether it's dating or the type of personnel you have on your roster.
Larry Brown didn't like rookies.
What if, just hypothetical, what if your parents got separated?
Yeah.
And your mom was back out on the dating scene.
Oh my
And your mom
gosh.
was like dating like a mid-30s guy. And that could be your next father. How would you feel?
I wouldn't feel good about that, Gary. I wouldn't feel good about that at all. It would be the weirdest
But
thing.
what if mom was happy?
If you're out there, and if I'm out there and you're out there, there's not enough shock and voltage that could get.
Peter Krenzer.
Hey,
what?
What if your mom was dating her trainer?
Oh my God.
Would that be kind of cool?
No,
not for your dad, but
not at all.
Might be awkward still if they had not gotten separated.
Well, that too, but no, that would not be cool at all.
Bob Baffert.
I guess
dated a horse.
okay. I see what you're saying though. There'd be a part of me. It wouldn't be the vocal part of me. There'd be a part of me though in my mind. I'd be like, "Good for you, mom. You still got it." But the vocal part of me, like,
what if you lived in Lincoln? Here you go. Here's a scenario. I'll wrap this up here. What if you lived in Lincoln and huge Husker fan?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know where you're gonna go with this.
Parents get divorced.
Yeah.
Mom's in her mid 60s.
Yeah.
Garrett McGuire.
I knew it. Either him or Ed Foley.
So Garrett McGuire's 25. What if mom was dating Garrett McGuire?
I'll tell you what.
Would that be like
when you got to meet him for the first time? Be the most polite interaction you've ever had. He'd be calling you sir. He'd win you over. Yeah. So sure.
McGuire, I thought you ment Mark.
I'd be like, you know what?
Dan.
I want to hate you because you're not my dad. But gosh dang it, you're so charming. So polite.
Baby dad.
I don't know Garrett McGuire's dating situation.
Yeah.
But he's 25.
Oh, he's
what if it came out like during the season, like Garrett McGuire's dating like this 52-year-old woman in Lincoln.
52-year-old season ticket holder?
Yeah. All she wants to drop her ashes on the
field. This is even better. That when she was growing up, her parents hosted players on Sunday. They came over so they could wash their clothes and dinner.
Yep.
And they gave him a little cash
code.
Yeah. People just like yesterday when it came out, when this story came out, there were people infatuated. I can't believe Bill. You know what? Hey.
Yeah.
I say good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now, again, in just normal life, if Bill Belichick wasn't Bill Belichick and it was just a 78-year-old man and a 24-year-old daughter.
Look at it differently.
Yeah, I think then it becomes a much different story.
But just like you said, hey, if you can play football, you can play football.
Yeah.
If you got game, you got game.
Yeah,
You know
amongst
what?
his friends, that guy's a legend.
Love is not an age.
It knows no age.
It knows no age.
It's true.
Parcells Trout a little Bill.
It's very true. It knows no limitations whatsoever.
Just get that prenup before you have your ashes spread at Memorial Stadium. All right. Good show, everybody, on a Friday.
You delivered. It's good to have you back. Everything was normal.
Yeah. Well, we're back to a little bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
You get more of Nick and myself. We'll be at Omaha Baseball Village tomorrow.
I get to see
3.
Omaha Baseball Village, Gary, which I heard is
already
just
have
a
a guest
completely
lined up.
different thing.
We got my good friend Ellie May from Tennessee is coming tomorrow.
Look forward to that.
She knows her stuff.
Good.
It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be there tomorrow from 3 until 6:15. We'll be back with y'all coming up on Monday at 6. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the first day of summer. Be safe, make memories, and don't forget to live, laugh, and punt. And have a great weekend.